Oh, I got. This
well, I mean, yeah, but I'm saying underneath there, obviously.
Yeah.
Bow socks, yep, there we go.
Once I get a little hot and warmed up and lathered up on the show, I might just have the T-shirt on.
Who are the Sox playing today again?
The Mariners.
Ah, I got you.
Yankees are winning 6-1. I love Yankee fans. Enjoy the first day or two and see the Bombers go, and then talk to me in August when the season really begins in October. How's October been for you lately, Yankee fans?
Brent, I'm not gonna lie, you are not gonna like my MLB predictions today.
Yeah, I bet.
Spoiler alert.
Can't wait to get to them. We get a little head start on the MLB predictions. You can kind of see what happens in the early games.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Mets are winning, so yeah, Mets for sure going at least to the playoffs this year.
I can tell you this.
Good.
There's not an ounce of this person that will pick the Mets to do anything. And I nailed the Mets last year. Everybody's like, the Mets are going to be great. Mets are going to be great. And the Mets were awful a year ago. Now, they did get banged up, but they weren't going to be great last year anyway. They're hitting. They just didn't have enough, and I question whether they have enough hitting again this season, although they do have some fantastic pitching. We'll talk a little baseball tonight. Why not? On the show, we won't talk it endlessly, I promise, but we'll weave it in and out. Love baseball, but I also understand that baseball doesn't necessarily drive our listenership here in Jacksonville. So we will certainly talk about it because it's a fun day. Opening day, there's a feel to opening day that is kind of cool. Now, I've lost it a little bit because, quite honestly, my kids play so much baseball and softball that I kind of feel like it's always baseball. And a couple of years ago, we actually did. I don't know if the kids were out of school or when they got home. It was like one of the Wednesdays where they get out a little early, and baseball started up, and we did the whole thing. We did hot dogs and hamburgers and the Cracker Jack. It was kind of fun. We had a little opening day in the living room watching some ball. So I love baseball. Tiger Woods is playing today. He's down to Brandt Snedeker in the WGC event, the match play event. We'll see if he can win this afternoon. We'll get you up to date on a little bit of the golf. And NCAA tournament resumes. Get your brackets back out. And hopefully, well, my Elite Eight and Final Four do a little bit better than my Sweet 16.
Yeah, because you're in last place right now. So
I am in last place.
You need a miracle here.
Listen, I don't need to win. I already kind of know I'm a winner. But I just don't really want to lose. And especially to Coos.
So talk about winning the ball game. You're a winner in your eyes, or
absolutely,
or in society's eyes?
What do you think?
Screw society. All right, so it's all about Brent Martineau today. I got you. Okay.
Well, no, it's not really. I mean, you can you can feel however you want to feel. I'm just comfortable in my winning.
Fair enough.
All right.
So
simple as that. But I wouldn't mind I'm a little torn today. I kind of am rooting for Florida State. How do you not root for that story? Phil Kofer story, Leonard Hamilton, this team that everybody's so down on that program for so long, and I like the locals winning too. Florida State, little Miami, Georgia, UCF. I kind of like that, and I'm pulling for all of you. Even though sometimes you all drive me nuts. But I like Florida State. Now, I've got a little bit of a conflict here because I didn't win the lottery last night, and my bracket says Gonzaga's winning it all. So I'm very conflicted, but I win either way, and I'm not doing so great in my bracket, so I'm not even sure Gonzaga winning would help. So I'm pulling for you today, Florida State, but I really think this shapes up on paper as one of the games of the tournament. I think we could come back to tonight and say this was one of the best games we've had of the tournament. Now, it's going to be tough to top that Duke-UCF game. That was really, really good. Heck, the LSU-Maryland game here, the Belmont game here.
The Belmont game, too, was good.
Right? And the Wofford-Kentucky game was good. So we've had some good games already, but I think right now, wouldn't you say that Duke game is the best game of the tournament?
Yeah, and I think going forward, I agree in the fact that the Gonzaga Florida State game could be a pretty entertaining one, but I'm also looking towards Tennessee and Purdue, especially a Purdue team that, listen, it's kind of the same story, it feels like, every single year with Purdue, where they're seated pretty high in the tournament, expected to do things, and they always kind of choke. And this year, I mean, Purdue has just been cruising in the tournament so far. They are living and dying by the three. And they're a really entertaining team to watch, along with Tennessee, who just oozes athleticism. So from that standpoint, I think that one might be a pretty good game to watch as well.
I like it. I like the fact that we could. Look, bottom line is we could all say they're great on paper. We'll see how it plays out, and I think we'll hopefully get some good games this Sweet 16 Elite 8 weekend. Should be a lot of fun with the NCAA tournament. Florida State Pro Day taking place, and I really think the headliner and maybe the only headliner coming out of Tallahassee is Brian Burns. Hope to be able to check in on his pro day and see exactly what's going on there in Tallahassee. And Burns, to me, like yesterday, This isn't you know how we feel about it. We're not Gators, Knowles, whatever. Yesterday we went to Gainesville, one, because it fit the schedule a little bit. They started earlier than the Tallahassee Pro Day did. But two, there were 5 locals that were part of the Pro Day yesterday. 5 kids from the Jacksonville area that took part in the Pro Day. And on top of that, Jawan Taylor is really a predictable Jaguars selection later in April. I think the only way a guy like Burns gets to Jacksonville is if they trade back. Say Washington wanted to trade up or someone like that, and Burns is there at 15, or I think Washington's picking 15. Maybe they're picking 13. But somewhere in that kind of range where the Jags trade back and tight ends are off the board and you still can get a really good pass rusher like Burns. I don't see him as a top 10 pick, although some people have mocked him as high as a top 10 pick, especially with a guy like Ja'Kai Polite falling, and we had a conversation about him yesterday quite a bit.
Ja'Kai Polite's an interesting fact, just because obviously he's not going to go top 10 anymore. He's probably not going to go even in the first round. I mean,
yeah, it looks like he'll slip out of that.
Probably talking about second, third round. Listen, a team's going to take a chance on him. There's no doubt about it, and that's what teams do sometimes, especially teams in need of a pass rusher, because you have to understand, does the talent outplay the off-the-field concerns? And when you're talking about Polite, yeah, you see his combine numbers and you see how those meetings went and everything. One would say, well, this guy's got a lot of baggage, he has a lot of red flags, but then you turn on that film and you see what he's capable of. There will definitely be a team that is going to try to take a risk, try to gamble on him a little bit. Pass rusher is kind of there's no way of knowing. I mean, listen, there's Clownies and guys like that. Probably, I think Montez Sweat's going to be a pretty good pass rusher as well. I mean, he just pops out on film. The combine numbers obviously tell the same story. But from a pass rushing perspective, you really got to have that guy in mind, unless the guy just falls to you. But for instance, I mean, there's different body types, whatnot, but you have to ask yourself, in your defensive scheme, are you trying to have the guy go down to a 3 technique? Are you just trying to have him be a primary 5 or like that wide 9 technique? So from that perspective, it all depends of where those guys fit in the scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll talk more about the Pro Day, see what's coming out of Tallahassee in that regard. Also, a little back to Gainesville, because the Gators scrimmage, we'll hear from Dan Mullen about what he expects and what he anticipates this time of year and what they could see at the scrimmage in Gainesville this afternoon. Little NBA, stay in your lane, balling and falling. We got it all here on a Thursday on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Plus, we have a couple of guests, too. Jason Christie from the Jacksonville Icemen will join us, the head coach. They've only got a couple of games left in the season. And I've got some bad news for you on the Icemen front, Austin Lane. But I've got some good news as well.
Okay.
It's good and bad news Thursday for you when it comes to the Jacksonville Icemen. And Brett Myers, country music sensation, former big league pitcher from Jacksonville, will join the show in the 4 o'clock hour. Talk a little bit about opening day, Major League Baseball, as we get set for the 2019 season. Glad you're along with us on a Thursday, everybody. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Scott back. We invited him back. 1, because we had no choice, and 2, because he was fantastic yesterday.
Best of a worst-case situation.
Hey, that's what you get when you're listening to us. 3 to 6.
We're just trying to make it work, man.
On ESPN 690.
That's our new slogan.
More to come. It's a big sell. A big-time sell.
ESPN 690, we're just trying to make it work, man.
That's coming up next.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau, family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years and fresh ingredients every day. That's what Renna's Pizza was built on, and that's what Renna's Pizza delivers. A menu to satisfy the entire family. Fantastic pizza, fresh salad, and Italian favorites like stuffed shells. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Be a part of the family today at Renna's Pizza.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Shop now and save on these items and more. On sale now at your neighborhood Ace. 100% Cypress mulch or red mulch. Your choice in 2 cubic foot bags, now 4 bags for $9. Shop Ace for proven winners. Gorgeous Blue My Mind flowers, just $4.99 in the 1 gallon size. Roundup ready-to-use weed and grass killer 3 with pump and go sprayer, now just $19.99, including a free refill. Find more great deals and the location nearest you at jacksace.com. Sale ends March 31st.
I swear to you know what, if y'all won't get y'all act together.
Adults everywhere, will you stand the hell up? Stop being a bunch of wusses! What the hell is wrong with y'all?
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
This is Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
The Magic Whiteboard is out early.
Yeah.
As always.
It's always out.
Early and often. What you got on the whiteboard here
Sweet
on a
16,
Thursday?
trash MTV show, good basketball viewing. Have you ever seen my Sweet 16?
No.
On MTV, it'll piss you off. It's basically just like a bunch of spoiled 16-year-olds that they have like their dream Sweet 16th birthday, so they're getting like Mercedes and stuff like that, and it's just it'll really make you wonder where you went wrong as a parent sometimes and things like that. But
I always think it makes me wonder where you go wrong when you sign up for one of those. Like, would you? It's interesting. Like, we try to tell stories on TV, especially, and we're like, "Hey, can you give us some access? We'd love some access. We want to tell you, like, what's your day like?" You know, we request these things, and then at the same token, I'm like, I would never sign up to do a reality show. Now, I think it's a little bit different to do a one-off story for 3 or 4 minutes, or even a half-hour documentary, or something like that, and tell your story. I think that could be kind of fun. But these reality shows that. Like, would you seriously? Is there one that you would sign up for? And I'm not talking like The Amazing Race or American Idol that you go sing and use a talent to do. I'm talking about one that kind of showcases your how you live your life every day.
Nope.
Would you sign up for?
Absolutely not. No, I mean,
do you think it would be interesting?
Would I exploit my son to play with toys and make me millions of dollars on YouTube? Possibly. But when it comes from just me, myself, absolutely not. It was funny. Back, I think this was 2012, I saw on the Jaguars, and Folio Weekly, which is a popular, newspaper. What would you call it? It's like an entertainment
magazine,
news, but it's made of paper. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. It's like a magazine, pretty much. We'll say.
We'll continue to promote it once they determine that we're the best show in Jacksonville,
there
right?
Because they do hand out the awards, and I think they actually have a best new. I think personality on the radio as well. So
that'd be you or me.
Shout out to, you've been on the radio for a while, so you aren't new, sir.
Sounds to me like might be Jake Ryan. By the time that next
we'll see if Jake Ryan ever comes back on again. So getting back to the story, so Folio Weekly did a thing in Jacksonville where it was like the most eligible bachelors. This was obviously back when I was single, and I was in the Folio, the Weekly as a most eligible bachelor. Well, that was in the magazine or whatever you want to call it, but there's also on the website. And, my friends being my friends thought that meant I was actually going to be on The Bachelor on ABC. So, word got back home, and, I had about, 5 phone calls saying, dude, you're on The Bachelor on ABC? That's so sick. I'm like, no, I'm not going on The Bachelor on ABC because, let's be honest, and it's funny because Clay Harbor, the guy that, the tight end, spent some time in Jacksonville, is actually planning a comeback. Yeah, he's actually having a comeback now. He's trying to get back into the league. He was on The Bachelor. Just not my style, man. Not even close to being my style. No.
I would never
no
do
way.
it. Now, listen, you could probably, you want to do, I don't even think it would be that interesting, like following me around, and that's probably why they don't really do those kind of shows. You got to add the drama and the sexual part, I guess, of The Bachelor or something like that. And, well, you can stay away from me on that stuff. But I just don't know how fun it would be. Like, I think The Bachelor is one of the, we talk about it all the time. I just think it's one of the most ridiculous shows.
Well,
like,
what's the prize? You get married? Sweet. If I'm single, I can go on like Tinder or something and try to find a date. I'm going to go on a reality TV show, spend my time, spend my effort for marriage, and that's it? Like, nothing else comes of it.
Well, not only
you don't
that.
get $1 million.
Oh, yeah, but everything you do is just caught on tape. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
it can ruin your image.
Yep.
It doesn't. Does it help people's image? Does reality TV help people's image? I know it can make them a lot of money. I know it can make them a lot of money, but you usually make a lot of money on reality TV because you're not afraid to make a fool of yourself.
I remember, like, and I don't watch Dancing with the Stars, but I think there was a guy on there who, or maybe it was a girl, she was deaf, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. And I had no idea who she was, and obviously I really don't know who she is anymore because I don't remember her name. But I remember, like, I think she won or got second place, but like that was like a big, thing for her because no one really knew who she was. I mean, she was like, and I don't even remember like what field she was in, if she was like an actress or whatever. But I mean, she got popular off that, just like with American Idol and whatnot. But those aren't really. I mean, yeah, I'd call them reality TV shows. Like those shows kind of showcase people's talents.
Well, that's true.
I think if it's a show that can showcase a talent, then it's a lot better than just like a straight up
about like
reality.
Desperate Housewives
Yeah.
and the Kardashians and
but let's be
that's
honest,
where you
though,
make your money.
Those aren't even that real though, Brent. Like those are all scripted.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like I mean, I guarantee you could have your own reality TV show and they could write something interesting. And
I don't have time.
Okay.
Yeah, they would have to really work hard to write something interesting.
Yeah.
I played golf today. Went to eat. Came in here and talked to Nick for a while.
Nice.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a blast.
Yeah, I
Follow
mean,
around with a camera.
Sounds like the life to me, man. Just going with the flow. Nothing wrong with that.
All right, let's talk about Florida State Gonzaga. Big game tonight. How do you seriously, again, we talk about, I think Gonzaga is a team that people don't dislike. So it's not like, listen, if you had Florida State against Duke or Florida State against North Carolina, be like, I'm tired of North Carolina. I'm tired of Duke. I get it. I don't think people are tired of Gonzaga. Maybe few, but I don't think a lot. And then you have Florida State, who, again, is a pretty nice story, a feel-good story. In a lot of parts, because you have a little sympathy now with Phil Kofer and what they're all dealing with the loss of his dad. But I think even feel good from a Leonard Hamilton point of view, feel good from Florida State, we don't see year in, year out in March Madness. We did last year, Elite Eight run. But before that, I mean, it had been so long that we saw Florida State make some noise. So they're a nice story. This last couple of years of Florida State is a really nice story, and I kind of like that. But the bottom line is, don't let any of those emotions or whatever take away from, we have two really, really good basketball teams, dynamic basketball teams that I don't believe the rest of the country knows a lot about, too. I think they're kind of a couple of secrets in college basketball in Gonzaga because, well, I know program Gonzaga. I'm talking about their team this year, Gonzaga. Okay. Gonzaga's really, really good. They look terrible in the final of their conference championship. They lost to St. Mary's, and that's really the only time anybody watched them play because it was, I think, okay, it's March Madness time and we're going to watch Gonzaga. They haven't watched more than 3 games of Gonzaga all year. I can promise you that. And a lot of people don't watch Florida State play either because they get lost in the shuffle in the ACC. My point is they're really two good basketball teams, and we got a heck of a game tonight.
We do, and I'm gonna let bygones be bygones. Florida State crushed Murray State. I'm taking that out of my pick here.
I appreciate that too. That's nice of you.
This is strictly business. It's not personal. But let's be honest here. Gonzaga is coming in boasting the second-ranked efficient offense right now and the number 1 scoring offense in the tournament, in the NCAA tournament. So pretty legit. Now, don't get me wrong. Florida State, I think, is a top 10 defense overall when you're talking about, tenacity and scrappiness. So you can't count Florida State out there. And when I was predicting the Murray State-Florida State game, I said Florida State had to kind of slow things down. Don't let John Morant get going. Well, actually, Florida State did the exact opposite, and they kind of put their foot on the gas a little bit and played a fast-paced game. Murray State couldn't keep up. And whether it was Florida State crashing the boards, this transition, Murray State was definitely outgunned and outmanned. when you're talking about Gonzaga, that's Gonzaga's game. Is playing fast, is shooting the three. I mean, they have a lot of good shooters. They have a lot of experience, and obviously they have the length. And if I'm Florida State, that's going to make me a little nervous. So I'm leaning towards Gonzaga just for the fact that, listen, this is kind of a rematch from last year, correct? Because I think Gonzaga got beat by Florida State in the Sweet 16.
Wow. Hey, we'll take me out to the ball game.
Right
I like
on
it.
time. Well, I'm not sure if the fans could hear that or not. Okay, anyways, well, so I know what that was. Hey, we're trying our best here at ESPN 690. That's our slogan. But I think
That was supposed to be. That was supposed
My
to be
bad,
good.
fellas.
Hey, that's
All
all right.
good, man.
Listen, take me out to the ball game any day of the week.
all good. But I am taking Gonzaga. I think too much experience, too much length, and too many shooters.
Well, listen, I just said Florida State and Gonzaga, probably two of the best kept secrets at times in terms of their basketball teams this year. I think if you go up and down the road and you say, hey, give me 4 players from each team, 3 players from each team, I don't think many people would be able to do it. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm an expert at Gonzaga either. We've watched a lot more Florida State because we're close to it. But it's really a night of it. Purdue and Tennessee. I mean, people know around here a little Tennessee because they've watched them in the SEC. They watch them play Florida a couple times. But I don't think anybody knows about Purdue, and Purdue's been good all season long as a 3 seed. I'll give you one even better, Texas Tech. Texas Tech is really good.
Yeah.
And they're playing Michigan. We know Michigan because what they've done the last couple of years. We know Michigan because they're Michigan. But the last couple of years, they've been very good and, national championship kind of good. So I think people automatically say, well, Michigan's got that game. Who the heck is Texas Tech? And then the real odd game is Oregon against Virginia because Virginia already has shown they can be beat, but they can be unbelievably good. And then Oregon, I think, is playing one of the best. They're playing really good basketball the last few weeks. They're a 12 seed that's playing really, really good basketball. So I think it's a coin flip in all these games is my point. I think this is a great night of basketball because I have a really hard time predicting who's going to win these 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, I think, if you could put money on it, I think you'd say Arizona would beat Oregon's probably, as far as chalk would be concerned.
Virginia, yeah.
I'm sorry, not Arizona. Yeah, Virginia. Hello. But,
Arizona doesn't have a chance.
No, Virginia. But listen, I mean, you can't doubt Oregon, though, either because they're coming off, they won their conference tournament, embarrassed Wisconsin. I'm not really sure that's really saying much. I mean, and they beat a UC, Irvine team that beat Kansas State. So you can't really knock Oregon either. I think that game's gonna be tomorrow too, right? Or is that tonight?
That's tonight.
That game's tonight. Okay,
late tonight.
Yeah, so I'm taking Arizona in that one. But like I said,
Arizona. There you go again. Why you got Arizona?
I don't know why I got Arizona, my man. Virginia. Sorry, I'm taking Virginia.
You're thinking Pac-12.
I am thinking Pac-12. And then as far as Michigan and Texas Tech,
you got to go with Michigan, right?
I have to.
But yeah. I like the people who pick Texas Tech here. I think you got a real chance, and not a lot of people did it.
And I'm just going with Michigan, and that's who I picked in my bracket too. Obviously, is just the fact that I've seen Michigan play the whole season. Obviously, I've been following Wisconsin a little bit. I know how good they are. Texas Tech, all I know about them literally is that they like to create turnovers. Well, Michigan, when it comes to turning the ball over, they're I think number 2 or number 3 in terms of ball efficiency, not turning the ball over. So I think they're smart. They're very disciplined. And I don't see Texas Tech being able to create turnovers.
Yeah, listen, the reason I bring it up and talking about kind of okay, what do we know? We're going to learn about these teams more. I think most of America watching college basketball tonight is going to learn a little bit more that these teams, and I think they can even fall in love with a team or two as they learn about these teams. Whereas tomorrow you've got Duke in North Carolina playing, and you got Michigan State playing, and you know those teams. We know those teams. We know what they're all about. You have Kentucky playing. Now, you don't know Houston very well, so you got a little bit of a mixed match. But, I mean, you got Blue Bloods playing on Friday. This one is just, I think, a bit unique tonight to see it in the Sweet 16, and really teams that can make a run. They're really good teams. Gonzaga, of course. Florida State, I think, has the goods if they keep playing well to win a national title. I really believe that. Michigan does too. I bet Texas Tech people will tell you they do too. So, I mean, outside of maybe Oregon winning the national title, I think any team playing tonight has a legit chance to win the national title. Not only because they're in Sweet 16, I'm saying because they're that good of a basketball team, even if their name power and name recognition is not great. Speaking of one other thought on basketball. You didn't catch it probably last night because I know a lot of people didn't. But Lipscomb against NC State in the NIT,
I heard about it. I didn't see the game.
It was fantastic. Lipscomb's a good team. We know them. They're in the A-Sun. I was shocked they didn't win the A-Sun this year. They're that good. Liberty's good enough. Liberty won a game in the NCAA tournament. I think Lipscomb could have won a game in the NCAA tournament. Well, little Lipscomb, if you will, A-Sun, they're going to Madison Square Garden, the Final Four of the NIT. And the game was sensational. Shot making and points, and Garrison Matthews was awesome. 44 points, I think. Cooper, the kid, had a steal and a big three, and then another two. And it was just really, really good basketball, and a huge win for Lipscomb, and a good win for the A-Sun, if you follow the A-Sun with JU, UNF in it. But I did ask this question on social media, and I think it's interesting in this kind of conversation. Is Lipscomb better off being in the Final Four, winning a few games, now going to Madison Square Garden and still playing, than they are one-and-done potential, which is certainly big-time potential as an A-Sun a team going to the tournament, because you're at best, like Liberty was a 12 seed. Lipscomb probably would have been like a 13 seed, maybe a 12 seed. Mm-hmm. But you easily can go one-and-done in the tournament. Is it better off being in the NCAA tournament? Which usually the answer is yes. But I'm talking for Lipscomb to go all the way to the Final Four and make kind of an improbable run to Madison Square Garden.
You say improbable run in the Final Four of the NCAA tournament and not the NIT, but look no farther than last year.
Yeah, good point.
Loyola, I guarantee if we go back to, the expert analysis, nobody had them going to the Final Four.
Well, that's
There's no way.
true.
And what did they do this year? I have no idea. I don't think they were that good this year. It's crazy how they kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah, they just had a magical season.
Yeah, but you look for...
And they had Sister
Jean.
Yeah,
so you look at like just the promotion, just the audience, the attention that they all got, and it was crazy. I was in Chicago during that run for one of my friends, Griff. He had a bachelor party, so we were right by like the university and whatnot, and it was insane, just all the fans that came out of the woodwork. And let's be honest, it's not a big school, okay?
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon a little bit. Hey, that's cool. It's Chicago. I understand it. So from that, I mean, you got to want to go to the tournament just because there's always that chance.
Yeah.
It's basketball. It's not like football, where football usually you know what's going to happen. With basketball, a team can have an off night. A team can shoot the lights out. And if you shoot the lights out a couple games in a row, you play good defense, you got an opportunity. So to answer your question, I would much rather go to the tournament, take my chances, than going to the NIT and go to the Final Four.
And I think that is the answer. I think it's the, I don't want to say easy answer, but I think it would be the popular answer. I just, like, Liberty's a good example. Liberty won a game, and when you win a game, you get an extra couple of days of notoriety. So they really got a full week of pub, and I think that's really valuable. But now you've got Lipscomb, who's now they're like into they're going to make it into week 3 of the NIT. And while people aren't sitting there watching NIT and they're not doing brackets for the NIT and the ratings aren't unbelievable, next week they are going to get a lot of love. And for the people on campus to still be talking about basketball, for those kids to get more games, it did make me wonder, and I think it is debatable in this situation, because I can almost guarantee Lipscomb was not going to the Final Four or the Sweet 16. Now, again, I get your point. They had a chance to do it. And I would almost say, outside of going to Madison Square Garden, this isn't even a question. But they're in the Final Four. They might win the NIT, potentially.
But let's be honest, though. If Lipscomb was in the tournament this year, like the big tournament, I mean, they could have been a 12 seed. Well, Oregon right now is playing Virginia to go on to the Elite Eight, and Oregon could win that game.
That's a good point.
I get it. There's a lot of chalk this year, but there's also a number 12 seed.
I do think if you asked Casey Alexander, the coach, and you said, hey, you're going to go to Madison Square Garden or you can come to the NCAA tournament, I think he would take the NCAA tournament, to your point.
Exactly.
So, and by the way, that game was the second best game of March. Duke UCF is number 1, and that is number 2. So if you missed it, well, you missed something good. We'll be back with some football talk next on ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and the dancers get dancing again today as the NCAA tourney picks back up with the Sweet 16. Florida State poised to take on a tough Gonzaga squad whose coach Mark Few says the Seminoles play keeps them up at night.
Man, oh man, are they a very, very good basketball team that just does a great job of defensively taking you out of what you want to do and coming both on the glass and in transition, and then when they're making threes like they did last game, very impressive.
Tip-off tonight at 7 p.m. on CBS 47. Baseball's back with opening day kicking off around the country today, but it seems seems like the drama is actually centering around a players' poll in which Bryce Harper's peers called the $330 million man the most overrated player in the league. It's actually the second time Harper won the distinction from his MLB brethren. The last time was in 2015, to which he responded by winning the MVP that year. Can't get enough baseball? Make sure to keep it locked right here for the defending World Series champion Red Sox, who are taking on the Mariners tonight on ESPN 690.
The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers you wholesale prices with premium service. And most important, TireOutlet.com has always had a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, check out TireOutlet.com today.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martin of Action Sports Jackson. Many of you know by now I'm a huge advocate for Hyundai vehicles. We actually drive a Hyundai in our family, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, take it from me. There's no better place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle than Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. The car buying experience should be smooth and seamless, and that's the experience you'll get from my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. Take a look at their specials and incentives at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. All you have to do is click the Specials tab, and you can find specials and incentives for new Hyundai vehicles. One thing you don't have to worry about at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is being haggled by a salesperson. Their sales staff are pros, and they're on your team from getting you into the car you want with the best possible financing plan. Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is second to none. Schedule a test drive at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com or at the showroom on Atlantic Boulevard. And tell them Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks sent you.
The 4th annual Touch a Truck event is coming to Jacksonville March 30th at the Regency Square Mall parking lot. We are offering First Coast families the chance and opportunity to climb all over trucks and vehicles that are normally off limits. Guests are asked to bring non-perishable items to be donated to Feeding Northeast Florida. You can find more information, visit ESPN690.com or find us on social media. Just search ESPN 690.
Sports Center updates at the top and bottom of every hour. And the latest breaking news in sports around the clock. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
You watch Action Sports Jacks on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jacks is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Bryce Harper just got introduced to the crowd in Philadelphia. Just like, I hate free agency sometimes. Like, good for you Philly fans, but I don't know. I hate when the guy leaves Washington. Been in Washington forever.
Are we hating right now?
A little bit. I'm not I kind of feel for the Nats fans. Like,
why? Nats fans they're fine. They have a good team this year.
They have a fine team, but they threw $300 million, it looks like, at Harper. And listen, maybe national fans out there is like, hey, you know what? I don't really care. But we don't need him. But I don't know. At least right now, it'll be over in like 2 days. It'll be like, okay, he's a Philly now.
Yeah.
But yeah. I just feel like there's something about free agency, and especially when you go within the division. And again, I've experienced this as a Red Sox fan. When you go to the Yankees from the Red Sox, or Yankees from the Reds to the Red Sox, and it just doesn't feel right. And I feel like in baseball, it's almost more than anything else because the rivalries are so deep in some of the divisional races that. And I'm not even saying Washington and Philly is a big rivalry, but it's in the division, man. I mean, you can you might have just changed the landscape of the division for those two teams for the next decade.
Yeah, but in terms of I get being big rivals, but let's be honest, like Washington's kind of a newer team. I mean, they're one of the newer teams of the expansion. I mean, I forgot when they came into MLB. What was it, like late 90s? No, the early 2000s.
It's right. Yeah, I don't even know
whatever
anymore.
It was.
But
yeah,
it's about 20 years. So it's going on 20 years.
I mean, I get like they're in the same division, but I don't really remember a lot of battles of the Nationals and Phillies going back and forth. You know, like. And I get it because they're close to each other and whatnot, but I feel like it wouldn't be like if some guy went to the Yankees or went to the Red Sox from the opposing team. You know, like those two teams hate each other. Now, I can't speak on behalf of Nationals fans and Phillies fans, but it is kind of crazy how in other sports it's not that big a deal, I guess. You know, like if I'm trying to think of a good example. I mean, all right, so say that the Jaguars' best player, Jalen Ramsey, we'll say, or we'll say Jalen Ramsey because he's the guy that we drafted and everything like that. So, like, if Ramsey went to Tennessee or if he went to Houston, yeah, that would probably be kind of a big deal, but I feel like it wouldn't be as big in the like it'd be bigger in the baseball world.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And like
for whatever reason.
And it's in free agency feels like it happens in basketball enough, and guys are chasing. Oh, listen, I think I might just still feel that way. It's probably an old school feeling, more so than a feeling across most baseball fans. I think it is what it is. I don't really think, like, I'm kind of bothered by it, this scene in Philly, and I'm not a Nationals or a Phillies fan. That's my point. Like, I don't think the rest of people that like baseball care at all, unless you just don't want them on the Phillies because maybe you're a Mets fan or something else. But I can only imagine the Nats fans watching this and almost puking, because that's what I would do if this was my guy who was playing for the Red Sox and went to the Yankees. Which is kind of what I did do with Clemens and Boggs.
Woe is me for the National fans. Sorry, guys. Like, I'm going to be honest, I could care less about National fans. But I think from a bigger picture of baseball in general, I think it's good for the game because the Phillies, good, bad, and different, they're more of a storied franchise. You know, there is history there. So I think from that, and like we talked about Trout, you know, if Trout would have gone to the East Coast, I mean, imagine what that would do for baseball.
Yeah.
So I think you have to see the big picture too here, Brent, where I think it's good for the game. I think it's going to get eyes on the game. And you can't be a hater, man.
Yeah, well, I can be. I don't. I don't.
You are right now.
Listen, I'm not a fan. I don't act like a fan very often. I'm just not. I'm not a big fan of teams in general outside of the Red Sox. And to me, even the opening baseball, you have to get me to like almost October for the blood to be boiling like a fan. But that's like a fan moment right there. That's like, just doesn't look right. Just doesn't seem right. Mm-hmm. Especially when the team it's one thing if the team just said, see ya, we don't want you.
Yeah.
But I think the Nationals made a run at him for like $300 million in 10 years, and he took 12 years and $330 million, or 13, whatever it was, 13 for 330. I was like, okay, well, you could have had that. I feel like you could have had something similar if you had just stayed. And I'm always like, I do respect the heck out of like the Derek Jeters of the world who stayed with their team forever. You know, there's something to be said about that that I like, and it's just so rare now in sports. I get it. Even the greats usually go to another team at the end of their career because they want to still play one more or whatever it might be. So it's one thing we can't say about LeBron James, you know, because now he's shopped all around. He's Cleveland twice, and now with the Lakers, he was with the Heat.
Miami, yeah.
Hey, Bachman, why don't you just come in here and talk sports, for crying out loud? He's texting me every single thing I'm saying.
Yeah, I can hear it because you didn't turn off your cell phone. It's all good, though, man.
I know.
I didn't want to just send him in. I thought that might be rude.
No worries, man.
John Bachman, let's talk a little baseball here.
What's up, man?
It's opening day. I love today.
John Bachman from Action News Jacks.
How you guys doing?
Good. I was out of the tournament, so he switched over to the Major League Baseball.
Oh, I know. I'm sitting here looking at the Hawkeye helmet here that you guys have. I love it.
Yes.
And I'm hoping Hawk comes to Jacksonville. I don't think it's going to happen.
I know. Well, listen, that's the thing. That's why we got you in here. We need to talk a little Iowa tight ends.
Yeah.
Which one is it? Hawkinson, Fant.
Well, I think Hawkinson would be a better fit for the Jags because the guy can block and he's a heck of a player. And Fant is probably the sexier pick because he's faster and he's kind of more of a receiver. But I don't think he would fit as well as Hawk would fit as with the Jags and what they try to do.
Yeah, from the power run game to the ability to catch. And
absolutely.
Big question to me is what's the separation with those guys, you know, and where the boy, like we can talk, it's a favorite question you get right now. I bet you get the question all the time.
Absolutely.
It's not about whatever just happened to lead the news story. It's are the Jags taking Hawkinson or a lineman?
All my buddies on the golf course are definitely saying, what are you hearing? I'm like, I don't know. I'm talking to Brent every day.
It's either that or the weather.
Yeah,
like
right.
I don't know. Here's Borsh's number. I don't know what the weather's going to be. But seriously, the thing I always say to people is I want Hawkinson if they rate him as a guy that's a perennial Pro Bowl type. Like that's what there's so much buzz about some of these guys at times that you don't really know, again, what's the narrative compared to what's the actual expert opinion.
Well, and Austin can talk to this more than anybody, but I mean, really it boils down to the value, right? Because is Hawk going to be so much better than the guy you could get in the second round or the third round versus, say, that defensive lineman who's going to be a difference maker at number 7, right?
Yeah.
Or that offensive lineman that you desperately need.
See,
and that's where it comes to where that's where Caldwell makes his money.
You said the word value, and it's a word that's been tied to this draft, especially with the Jacksonville Jaguars, that I cannot stand, to tell you the truth, because everyone's saying, well, the Jaguars shouldn't take Hockenson number 7 because there's no value in that. Like tight ends don't go top 10. That's not a value pick. I consider the tight end position, especially going into the 2019 season, a pass catching threat. Okay, so I don't call it tight ends, I call them pass catchers. So you have to ask yourself, is Hockenson or is Fant, are they the best pass catchers in this draft? Are they game changers? And if you answer that question and say, yes, they are, well, then think of it like a receiver. Like, receivers have gone top 10 all the time. So if you can evaluate a guy in your scouting department, whoever is making the call, the GM, you can see a guy and be like, this guy is a pass catcher and he's the best one in the draft, then I say at number 7, you take him. Now, maybe Hawkinson's not the best pass catcher, and maybe even Fant's not the best pass catcher. But if you're a GM and you're picking top 10 and you think that they are, you absolutely take them.
Well, here's the deal. Let me ask you this, though. I get it, and I'm not a value. I don't judge that, too. I say this. Here's the value. If you're a 7-time Pro Bowler, almost as a kicker, then I think your value goes up higher than most people would say. Now, not really. I wouldn't draft a kicker first round, but you get my point. So right now the Jaguars might have to alter the value view of people. Right tackle is not a highly valued spot. Left tackle is, not necessarily right tackle, but that looks like what the Jags could do. Or tight end, not usually a top 10 pick kind of area, but they might have to do that as well. So I agree with you that that's not necessarily the case. So let me propose this to you guys. Pass rusher is a value spot. Mm-hmm. Top 10 spot. The old saying is you go pass rusher, quarterback, or left tackle. I think what recently has been thrown in there is cornerback because of the pass-happy NFL. So if you have an elite corner, you'll do it. Some teams have even taken running backs as of late, Jags included. Some have also taken some safeties as well. The Jets did. A kid out of LSU, why is his name escaping me right now? But they took him recently in the top 5. And I know the Jags actually liked him, too. They might have flirted with that if he had fallen. So my point is, if there's name your pass rusher, Josh Allen, Gary,
Sweat.
That, how much does the value there then trump a potential of Hockenson, even if you have Hockenson as this guy that's going to be a 5-time Pro Bowler on your board?
Tight end is definitely a need on the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's no doubt about it. History has shown that anytime you pick a tight end in the 3rd round or later, it's not always successful. I mean, George Kittle.
Yes.
Another Iowa guy. 5th round, if I'm not mistaken, I think. 4th or 5th round. Was he the 5th round?
I think it was at least 5th round.
I think it's 5th round, yeah.
The 49ers.
So every once in a while, there's going to be an outlier. But for the most part, I can't remember a guy that was taken later in the draft that played tight end that had a successful season right now. That's coming to my head besides George Kittle. So, listen, the Jaguars' best edge rusher right now was a 3rd round pick. Correct?
Yeah.
Unique.
So I think from that term, Brent, listen, this is a deep tight end class for sure. I mean, Josh Oliver's a guy I've been campaigning for a lot.
Ran fast today.
Ran fast, did good. He's got good hands. Blocking's a little suspect, but we'll see. So it is a deep tight end draft, but those game changers, I feel like are going to come in the 1st and maybe the 2nd round. 2nd round would be like an Irv Smith, if he even lasts that long. We don't know how it's going to go.
I think he could get shoved up.
Exactly.
Especially with New England would need at the 32nd spot.
So I see what you're saying where take the edge rusher early in the 1st, 2nd round and then maybe get like a depth guy later for a tight end. But I look at the Jaguars roster right now. I see Swam. I'm not confident in who they have right now. So, in my opinion, I feel like you got to go the 1st round. Hope for the 2nd round, maybe get Irv Smith, but it's kind of a question mark there. So I feel like you got to take the best pass catcher in the draft.
Bachman, you got time or you got to go
got time.
put on?
I got time.
We got a 5 o'clock show.
I do have a 5 o'clock show.
We got a quick little commercial break coming up. When we come back, we may share a little breaking news. How about that?
Okay.
Some thoughts on something you probably hadn't thought about could be happening in Jacksonville. That's next on ESPN 690.
That's a team.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Did James Harrison ever tell Ben Roethlisberger to put down the beers and get in a little better shape? Please say yes.
Dan's in good shape.
He is?
Dan looks good.
If you say he looks good, he looks good. That's right. We think he runs like a skyscraper, but if you say he looks good, that's fine by us. We'll let it go.
That's a good thing he ain't paid to run. He paid to throw.
The Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. If you've received a letter from the IRS and can't pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank account, garnish your wages, and place liens against everything you own. If this is you, contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. Only highly experienced tax attorneys will represent you, and fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. Get the protection you deserve. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 904-507-4777. Or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
Now through April 14th, Wawa and the Wawa Foundation are hosting an in-store coin donation campaign for American Red Cross local disaster relief efforts. Visit your local Wawa and donate today. Wawa and the Wawa Foundation are partnering with the American Red Cross to help those affected by local disasters. Through April 14th, we invite you to make a donation at any Wawa store and help support others in your community when they need it the most.
From the NBA to the NFL, we've got you covered. The worldwide leader in sports. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
You mean to tell me that you went home and swiped a ball that was signed by Babe Ruth, and you brought it out here and actually played with it? Actually played with it? Yeah, but I was gonna bring it back. But it was signed by Babe Ruth. Yeah. You keep telling me that. Who is she? What? The Sultan of Swat. The King of Crash. The Colossus of Clout. The Colossus of Clout. Babe Ruth! The Great Bambino. Oh my God! You mean that's the same guy? Yes.
Well, we got a little Sandlot there.
Well, obviously, what else
something for baseball.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Nice work.
Nice work, Scott. Going to the old stuff there.
Scott going to the bay. Like I said, he's like a human Swiss Army knife. The guy does it all.
Sandlot,
Tells
right?
jokes. Yes, it is
I'm
a Sandlot.
bad at this movie stuff, even though I love the Sandlot. But I want to
have the
double check.
T-shirt, sir.
I know it, but I want to double check.
Unbelievable. Yeah, so Sandlot.
If you get me Field of Dreams, I can probably recite like every word. You better be able to, Bachman.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a good Iowa.
Oh, that's coming.
That'll be here soon enough. All right. Hey, what about a little of this? So John Bachman's working on some stories here. That's what he does. He's a news guy. Action News Jack, CBS 47, Fox 30, 5 o'clock tonight, and each and every night on Action News Jacks. It gives me a little buzz about something going yesterday, and did a little homework on it. We did together, a little joint effort. And fair to say, barring something that hits a snag, which is my favorite, couch yourself just in case this doesn't happen, but it looks like it's happening. It sounds like the Jaguars are on their way to purchasing or will own at least the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl in the near future. And it's an interesting thing because I don't think many people know, like ESPN owns a lot of bowl games. I think the Detroit Lions
they own the
bowl game in the Motor City Bowl, right?
Yeah. I think the Texans might own the game down in Houston too, possibly.
Yeah, and so it's pretty fascinating to – it's not shocking because of those examples, but it also gets your mind wandering a little bit. What does it mean? What does it mean for like the Jack Sports Council who helps recruit that game, bring that game in?
That's their big thing every year.
And the city's big thing is Florida-Georgia game. Jack Sports Council just had Florida State game on baseball.
And they helped with the NCAAs.
So it's interesting inside that building, TIAA Bank Field, to me, that's where this story is headed. It's Shad Khan now owns another event, essentially, inside that building, or will own in the future. What I'm a little uncertain of right now through the things that I can tell is how soon this will happen. Will it happen this year in 2019, or is it on the verge of happening, and how soon that announcement will come out? But I think we've learned enough to know that this is on its way to happening, and it's pretty interesting. I don't know if it's blockbuster stuff, but I think it sets the table for interesting conversation.
Yeah, it may not be a big deal. Certainly it doesn't seem like it's going to be a big deal to the average football fan who may either is rooting for whatever team is at the bowl game that year, or the local folks here in Jacksonville who go to the game every year regardless of which team is there. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be a big deal at all for those folks. But if you look at the bigger picture, you start looking at, well, what does it mean for the city and the Jags and the relationship between the two, and the relationship between the stadium. And, this is another event that takes place at the big stadium with the naming rights of TIAA Bank Field. And there are a lot of contracts tied up in that and what happens with all of those things. So it's interesting to me, big picture, if this were to happen, does this have any impact on the dynamics between the two?
Yeah, and I think what's fascinating to me, John, is this comes off on the heels, once we start putting this thing together, and it comes on the heels of Shad Khan really wanting to purchase Wembley Stadium. And Wembley Stadium, that deal fell through, and I think that's kind of a temporary thing. I think that will resurface itself at some point. But Shad Khan even said, I don't have the statement in front of me, but when he talked about that, he knew everybody wasn't on the same page over there. And the idea, own Wembley Stadium, own the events that go in there, put more events in there. Well, I don't know if ownership of TIAA Bank Field really comes to mind, but owning the events inside there and more of it, and Daly's Place, and what's to come maybe with the Lot J, and even beyond, if you want to think beyond Lot J. But Lot J is happening. Like, Lot J is going to happen soon. That ramp's coming down toward the end of this year.
Early next year, I believe.
Yeah. And they're going to start ripping it down, right, later this year, I think?
I believe it's early next year is when they start to take down the Heartbridge ramp. Yep.
So if you start adding those things up, you've got all these football weekends. The Rolling Stones concert, my understanding is that's a Jags-led event. You've got Daly's Place. So I think Shad Khan is able to manage with his group. Heck, we even talk about All Elite Wrestling. I know that's more Tony Khan, but all these different kind of tentacles that go on. And he's not alone. NFL ownership does that. I mean, you've got Tampa Bay owns a English Premier League team, right?
Yep. Look at the Falcons and the soccer team. Yep.
So it's really fascinating to watch the evolution, I think, of ownership in the NFL, how big the NFL has gotten, and what else all the NFL owners in that fraternity are now involved in.
My question is, though, what does Khan get from owning this bowl? Because it's not like, I mean, what more can you bring to the table? Like, you're at the mercy of the people that select who's playing there. Like, I mean, is he going to plan on improving it somehow? Like, I guess my question is, like,
that's a great point. And from a business standpoint,
yeah, exactly.
From what I'm hearing, you've got for the naming rights contract, let's say for TIAA Bank Field, that's connected to how many home games the Jags play, which is 7 plus a couple of preseason games, if I'm not mistaken. Brent, help me out on that. But so you got that many football games that are going to be broadcast, right? Then you've got the Florida-Georgia game, which is also part of that. So they know they're going to have a nationally or a regionally televised game there. Well, then you've got the bowl game as part of that thing. So they can count on having TIAA Bank Field on a national network audience for that bowl game. If something were to happen to the bowl game, maybe it's not viable, something as an independent or whatever were to happen there, now you're losing that national exposure that is tied to the vendors who might have signs up in the stadium, the name of the stadium itself. And so the Jags, again, this is all speculation if this thing actually happens at this point, But if that is tied to that contract, then they would want to see that game protected, and this would be a way for them to protect it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And do you think the city loses any leverage in any of this type of deal, or does it almost protect them from not losing an event like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you can look at it both ways, and I'm not an expert to say one way or the other. I've heard people talk about it from both sides of that coin.
Yeah.
Because ultimately down the road, the question will be asked, between the Jags and the city, when the stadium comes of age, let's say, what happens to that? Who's going to foot the bill for improvements or a new stadium? And that's down the road a bit, but that's the big question that we're kind of walking around.
Yeah, private-public partnership they've developed with the city, and that will go down the road in terms of that stadium someday. Someday is coming. John Bachman, see him tonight, CBS 47 and Fox 30. We'll talk more about this topic as the show rolls on.
Look forward to it.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and the dancers get dancing again today as the NCAA tourney picks back up with the Sweet 16. Florida State poised to take on a tough Gonzaga squad whose coach Mark Few says the Seminoles play keeps them up at night.
Man, oh man, are they a very, very good basketball team that just does a great job defensively taking you out of what you want to do and coming both on the glass and in transition, and then when they're making threes like they did last game, very impressive.
Tip-off tonight at 7 p.m. on CBS 47. Baseball's back with opening day kicking off around the country today, but it seems like the drama is actually centering around a players poll in which Bryce Harper's peers called the $330 million man the most overrated player in the league. It's actually the second time Harper won the distinction from his MLB brethren. The last time was in 2015, to which he responded by winning the MVP that year. Can't get enough baseball? Make sure to keep it locked right here for the defending World Series champion Red Sox, who are taking on the Mariners tonight on ESPN 690.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martin of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. And if you're even thinking about taking a look at a new car, you need to go see my friends at the new Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. If you haven't seen the new 2019 Hyundai Kona, head over to Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard and take it for a test drive. The 2019 Hyundai Kona was named the North American Utility Vehicle of the Year. It has enough room for the family, but it's not too big. It really is the ideal crossover vehicle. If you don't need something as big as a crossover or full-sized SUV, check out the new 2019 Hyundai Elantra sedan. It's a very slick car, and it starts at only $17,985. The manufacturer also offers $2,000 cash back on select 2019 Hyundai Elantras, but the offer is only valid through April 1st. The Hyundai you want, the service you deserve, all with a 7-day money-back guarantee. Schedule a test drive at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.com and make sure you tell them Brent Martineau sent you.
It's time for some straight talk. Picture this. Your favorite team is playing. You're streaming the game. 10 seconds left. Your team shoots. Oops, your data runs out.
Look, don't let that happen. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get 25 gigs of high-speed data, all on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
Join Team Straight Talk and get unlimited talk and text plus 25 gigs of high-speed data for just $45 a month.
Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart.
First 25 gigs at high speed, then 2G. See terms at straighttalk.com.
With warmer weather just around the corner, it's the perfect time to tackle that brake job. Replacing your brake pads? It might be time to replace your rotors too. Our Duralask Brake Bundle has the proven tough pads and rotors you need to do the complete job. Started at only $99.99 and sold only at AutoZone. Getting the job done just got easier. Let us help you at more than 5,600 locations nationwide. See store for restrictions and details.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. After 2 games in Tokyo last week, it's time for baseball's opening day stateside in the first of a triple header on ESPN and the ESPN app. 8th inning, the Yankees lead the Orioles 7-2. The first final of the day, the Mets shut out the Nationals 2-0. Jacob deGrom, 6 scoreless with 10 strikeouts. Robinson Cano drives in both runs, including a home run in his first Mets at bat. The signing of Manny Machado is just one reason why ESPN's Keith Law will be paying attention to the Padres this year.
Probably a bit optimistic on the Padres, but I am optimistic on the Padres. I love what they did this offseason. I love the fact that Chris Paddock and Francisco Mejia, and especially Fernando Tatis Jr. are on the Major League roster. They'll get Luis Urias back in a couple of weeks, I think. By mid-May, early June or so, they may not be the strongest roster in National League West, but they will be by far the most interesting.
Keith Law on Baseball Tonight. Tonight is also the first night of the Sweet 16. Only top 4 seeds on the floor tonight, except for the 12 seed Oregon against Virginia.
The Pizzone from Pizza Hut. It's meaty, cheesy, and you know it's big. The Pepperoni Pizzone is back and part of the $5 lineup. 2 or more, just $5 each. No one outpizzas the Hut. Ask or click for offer. Product availability, prices, participation, and delivery areas and minimums vary. Delivery charge is not a driver tip.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Ray, people will come, Ray.
They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom.
They'll turn up your driveway, not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your doorstep
as innocent as children longing for the past.
Of course we won't mind if you look around. They'll say it's only $20 per person.
They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have and peace they lack.
And they'll walk out to the bleachers, sit in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines,
where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game, and it'll be as if they dipped themselves in magic waters.
The memories will be so thick, they'll have to brush them away from their faces.
People will come, Ray.
The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It has been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt, and erased again.
But baseball has marked the time.
This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray.
It reminds us of all that once was good.
And that could be again.
Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.
A little Major League Baseball opening day here on a Thursday. Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Well, you didn't know what that was for a second.
Dude, was that like a PSA to visit Iowa or something, or what?
No, that was Major League Baseball, I think, put that one out a couple of years ago.
Yes, sir. They had a lot of players come back and do parts of the speech, and, of course, giving it the intro and the closure as popular by James Earl Jones from the movie.
Yes, and Terrence Mann from the movie, as we talked about yesterday. But the reason actually we brought up Terrence Mann yesterday is because Major League Baseball, I think, did this again to start this year, but they used Vin Scully instead. And so instead of all the baseball players coming back, I saw it. And you know what's really interesting about that? Listen, Vin Scully can say like the word "the," and you're like, Vin. I actually, when he did this, I don't know if it's the length of that right there, that segment, that portion of Field of Dreams. But it just was like, it didn't hit me like Vin Scully usually hits me. And I think a little bit of it is James Earl Jones' voice is so good that it's hard to get anything better than that. You know?
No, it's right up there.
I mean, the whole news network went with it, and also, that's a quality endorsement.
I mean,
plus the Emperor was into it.
So I like that. In this one, he started and ended it, and the baseball players coming back. But it's obviously become a theme for Major League Baseball to go back to Field of Dreams. It's good. They're trying. It's always great to revisit Field of Dreams. But I thought that was really unique, and I wonder if anybody else thought that, because when they said, like the tweet said Vin Scully doing that scene from Field of Dreams, I was excited. I was like, oh, I can't wait to hear this. This is going to be awesome. And then I heard it, and it was like 2 minutes worth, and I was like, yeah, it's just okay. And nothing Vin Scully does is just okay. But that kind of felt just okay. And I think it was just because of James Earl Jones' voice. It's so good that you don't really even need to try to get another great voice in there. He's one of a kind in himself. But baseball season, have our first winner of the day. Really, we already had first winners. Seattle's 2-0. They played in Japan, which is, I always just think is so bizarre that 5 days ago they started the season and they were 2-0 for 5 days before anybody else was even 1-0 or 0-1, but they did that. Ichiro retired. Well, the New York Mets have won a game, and Jacob deGrom signed that lengthy big money deal.
The DeGrominator.
And he was awesome again today. 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, and shut out the Washington Nationals during his 6 innings. The Mets end up shutting out the Nationals 2-0, and they waste a good effort by Max Scherzer as well, who struck out a dozen New York Mets. So the Mets get off to a good start. They have the first win on this day. A couple of other baseball scores to pass along. The Yankees winning 7-2. Don't like to say that. Over the Baltimore Orioles. Milwaukee 5-3 over St. Louis right now. Atlanta, Philly 1-1.
What inning in that Milwaukee game?
5-3, end of the 6th.
Oh, don't worry, Milwaukee fans. Put those kids to bed because Hader's coming in to close out that game. So Brewers 1-0, baby. Gotta love it. Gotta love it starting on top.
What about the happy hour horn here on a Thursday to get it rocking and rolling and bring a little baseball in?
Thanks, Scott. I'll take it from here. ESPN's Tim Kirchin. Excited to be here in the ESPN 690 studios on opening day. How you doing, Brent?
Fantastic, Tim.
Brent, I came across an interesting stat. Don't worry, Brent, I'll take it from here. I came across an interesting stat today dating back to 1980 at Ashton University. Of all the walk-on baseball players that got into broadcasting, you rank number 8 all-time of broadcasting lefties. Congratulations on that great achievement. But let's be honest. Let's talk about why I'm here. It's the implementation of the happy hour horn. It's Thirsty Thursday, so you know what that means. You got to grab a drink. You got to get a shot and tip those star tenders. Once again, this is ESPN's Tim Kirchin, ESPN 690 Studios.
Hey, now we bring in Marcel Robinson, sunglasses and football in hand, to take over for Austin Lane because he can no longer talk the rest of the show.
I'm done. We'll see you guys later.
Dude, that put you on the show for 2 days the last time, and you brought it out again.
It's opening day, man. You have to really pump the gas, right? you have to bring out the big guns for opening day. So, yeah, Tim Kirchin make another appearance.
Yes.
I have no words.
Yeah, it's...
That's because you don't know who Tim Kirchin is, so obviously you have no words right now.
I have no words.
They had a great shot today. I think it was. I was watching the baseball coverage. Did I see Keith Olbermann was on the baseball coverage today? Did I see that right?
I thought he was.
That was on faraway TV, but it was. So I think it was Olbermann. I think it was Mark Teixeira, and then Tim Kirchin was on the right side of the TV. So, so it was those 3 guys. It's like, somebody get Tim a stool. I mean, come on, guys. Have you ever done TV? Get him a box.
But I feel like it's all part of the, kind of the gig. Like,
I think it kind of was.
He's the short guy. He's got that high-pitched voice. Like, I don't want to say he's like a sideshow act, but he's a great personality and just a great attraction in baseball.
He's unbelievable. Welcome in, Marcel Robinson. How you doing?
Doing good. Feeling good today on this wonderful Thursday. It's Thursday, right?
It is Thursday.
It is a Thursday.
It is a great Thursday afternoon. I'm glad the wind has finally died down because my dog did not like having to walk in these hurricane force winds yesterday.
The winds was tough. Winds were tough, weren't they?
They were a little bad. I'm not a big wind guy, and obviously I'm not the largest guy in the world, so I had a nice jacket on yesterday that functioned as a parachute. I almost got blown into my truck.
Speaking of fashion, obviously we have one of the greatest here, part of the team when it comes to fashion, Marcel.
Who, Olivia?
What's up, Olivia? Yeah, her too, obviously, but as my voice is shot, I was going to ask you though, man, are those new shades you're rocking today? Are these some new?
No, those are the same things.
Those are the same ones you always wear?
These are not the same ones I always wear. I actually have a collection of about maybe 6 to 8. Mixing a couple, but I like to switch it up.
Well, so these are new to the show, though, if I'm not mistaken.
These are new to the show in Jacksonville. I had these in when we were at the Super Bowl.
Okay, gotcha. Brent, you have to notice those kind of things, man.
Nope, try not to look.
Okay, fair enough.
Try not to look.
That's what happens when your future looks bright. You got to wear the shades, Brent. We've been over this how many times?
Yeah, we're going to talk more baseball at the bottom of the hour, so I don't want to do that right now. We'll talk a little football, maybe in a little Jacksonville Iceman here in a little bit. Jason Christie expected to give us a call. But the NBA, Marcel, I know is your wheelhouse.
Coming down to the wire.
And I wanted to ask you, is it over? Giannis, Harden, MVP.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's over, but for me, I feel that Giannis is in a really good spot to take it home.
Wow.
I don't think they'll give it to Harden twice. And also, for me personally, I just can't give the MVP to a player that doesn't play both ways.
Thank you.
I feel like your most valuable player is someone that can dominate on both ends of the floor and make an impact on both ends of the floor. And I just have not seen enough defensively from Harden.
Did I see a stat, though, the other day? And I know everybody harps on his defense. But did I see a stat that he's second in steals and first in deflections in the NBA?
He is. And there's
deflections doesn't mean anything to me. Steals does.
Well,
but
steals,
deflections,
well, I mean, I think they go hand in. You're telling me if a guy's first in deflections, he's obviously doing something on the defensive end, is my point. People make it seem like Harden doesn't play defense at all.
Yeah, he's not a great one-on-one defender. I will say the stats and deflection, the steals and deflection stat is a bit misleading because he is a great he plays the passing lanes very well. Paul George is the same thing, but James Harden is one of the best at playing in the passing lanes because he's always playing off. So if you're playing off your defender, naturally you're going to be in the passing lanes of any pass, whether it's a driving kick or a pick and roll. But he has very quick hands. But as a one-on-one defender, he's not as much of a liability as he was in previous years. But he is not great.
Thank you, because I do the same thing at the YMCA. I play off my man, and I get deflections because I'm playing off my man, so the ball kind of comes in my lane. So we are not impressed by James Harden's defense, Brent. Sorry.
This is the same thing that happens, and again, this isn't going to go into this debate, but it kind of sounds like the same thing when you talk LeBron or Wilt or whoever against Michael Jordan. Everybody's like, yeah, but Michael Jordan was Defensive Player of the Year, or Michael Jordan was this on defense. I just love how we don't give a crap about defense until we try to make an argument like this. And now the argument against Harden this year is, oh, wait a minute, though. He's not that great on the defensive side of things. And it's not that award. I mean, he scores 36 a game. That's what this award is about. This award is not about him. They have a Defensive Player of the Year award.
They do.
And that's not for Harden. And I just think it factors very little into giving the MVP. And this is not me making a case for Harden. I'm just saying, as a very neutral observer, and I could care less who wins it, I just think it's really difficult in this day and age to ignore the numbers. And the numbers, whether you want to say he plays a game where he dribbles and shoots a lot and shoots more than others, bottom line, it says he's got 9 more points a game than the Greek Freak. He's got 8 more points, I think, than anybody else on average in the NBA this year. He's averaging 36 a game, right? 36 a game?
I want to say 36 or 37.
Yeah. I mean, he's averaging 36 a game. When's the last time somebody averaged that high? I didn't even look that up. But
well, how many shots is he taking? Because he's averaging 43% from the field right now, too.
Yeah.
So he's taking a lot of shots.
I get it. You go deep and dive into it, and it's a lot of shots. But does that speak to he has to take shots? Or is he a ball hog and he's just firing shots?
I mean, that's great, but let's be honest. You said that there's a Defensive Player of the Year. Well, there's also a scoring champion every single year.
True.
So go ahead and give him that award. I mean, in my opinion, the most valuable player is the guy that you want on your team, the guy that's carried your team, the guy that's – and listen, I'm not one for storylines all the time, but let's be honest. The Milwaukee Bucks weren't really slated to do that well this year. Definitely not have the best record in the NBA. That's a direct correlation to Giannis. So from that perspective, you almost have to give him. And by the way, shooting 58% from the field goal right now. So that's pretty good last time I checked. I don't care if it's a lot of dunks or not. People like watching dunks. So enjoy that. But getting back to my point, I mean, it can go to either guy in my opinion, but I think from a complete player, and yes, defense isn't as harped on as it was in the 90s and early 2000s. The game's definitely changed, but I think with his mentality, being the teammate that he is, you have to give it to Giannis.
I think no question, offensive side of the ball, James Harden is by far probably the greatest offensive one-on-one player in the game right now. And like you said, there is an award for Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and Most Valuable Player, which Offensive Player of the Year, no question. I mean, the man scores at will. But he's had so many of these, like everyone talks about the 50-point games. I think he's got 7 or 8 games of 50 points or more, and they've lost 3 of those. Like, I feel like if Giannis was to score 50 points in a game, or even, I don't think he has a chance of winning it now, but Paul George is out of the conversation based on the team's poor success. But I feel like if Giannis was to score 50 points a game, they're winning. They're 8-0, as opposed to the 4-4 or 3-4 that the Rockets are. And I don't think Harden takes as many shots because he has to, because he has guys. They actually have a pretty decent team, but at the same time, I don't know.
Hey, listen, this is the first time in a decade, in my opinion, that you can make the case that LeBron James isn't the MVP. Okay?
Oh, absolutely.
So
no question.
The fact that he doesn't have 9 of them in his back pocket or on his mantle is a crime in this award anyway. He's been that guy for 9 straight years, however many years in a row. And he does, what does he have, 4 of them? 3 of them?
LeBron?
Yeah.
I think so.
He's got at least 3, but I think he has 4.
He has 4.
And so I think it's finally the case. But the fact that they gave it to Harden last year, I think you guys are onto something. I do think this is an award that they like to add to people's resume, kind of like Pro Bowls at times and those kind of things. And I think Greek Freak might win it. And he'll be deserving if he wins it. That's the thing. Both guys are definitely deserving of that.
But to try to make a point, a little case for Harden, too, let's be honest. The NBA loves scoring. I mean, Steph Curry's won it twice now. And it wasn't because of his defense. You know, I mean, it's because of his three-point shooting.
Well,
so
true. He's electric.
So
and people are talking about him.
Yeah.
But people talk about both these guys. People are talking about the Jacksonville Icemen as well. We go to the lines. Jason Christie, the head coach of the Icemen, with us. All right, Harden or Greek Freak? Which one is it? Who's going to win the MVP, Coach?
You always got to go Harden for sure.
Okay.
There you
we
go.
have a debate. All right.
I want to see Harden or Greek Freak on skates.
Yeah. He's pretty smooth out there.
Hey, how are you doing? You guys were in Greenville tonight, wrapping up the regular season and ready for the playoffs. But you guys got some big games coming up this weekend. Tell us about them.
Yeah, no question. We're in Greenville here tonight. We play here tonight and then home for the final 2 regular season games on Friday, Saturday against Atlanta. So a little bit of a push. You know, we're up there a couple points ahead of South Carolina and Atlanta. So, you know, this is going to be a big couple games in Atlanta, but, you know, we can't overlook Greenville. They're going to come out and play hard here tonight for sure.
What is this like, weekend like? I mean, you guys do this all the time. Can you give us a sense of how fresh you guys are at this point in the year? You won't get back to like 5 in the morning from Greenville, and then you go play, and so it's 3 games in 3 days. How taxing is it on your group? How conditioned are you guys? And like I kind of said, how fresh are you guys going into this stretch or final run?
Well, that's the thing. You know, this weekend you kind of want to have things all wrapped up here just so you're getting prepared for the playoffs. But right now we're still scrapping away here with the teams underneath us. And, you know, for Atlanta coming in, you're right. They're sitting at home there today. They got in, and we got to play and then travel back and get home. By the time guys get in bed, it'll be 6 a.m. and then back at the rink by 4 o'clock for a game tomorrow night. And so, but again, that's, you know, we've been doing it all year, so the guys are pretty used to it, and, you know, that's part of the game. And, you know, at the end of the day, there's no excuses, right? It's just coming out, being ready to play, and competing.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason Christie, the head coach of the Jacksonville Icemen, with us. They'll be home tomorrow night, 7:30. Saturday night at 7 o'clock. I already heard big crowds expected. Tomorrow night, little ESPN 690 night. Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, along with the Jacksonville Icemen, kind of combining on jerseys tomorrow as well. And then Saturday, I know there's a big crowd. I think there's something like less than 1,000 tickets available for that Saturday night game. The crowds continue to impress. How is your team playing, Coach? How do you feel about the way you guys are performing at this time of year?
Well, right now it's been good. You know, we lost goaltending, obviously got called up there, but we got Angus Redmond, who is with the Anaheim Ducks. He got sent down, so he's holding the fort down right now. A couple injuries this week, but, you know, with our main group, you know, we're excited. You know, this is the group here that's going into the heat of it, and the group that, you know, in order to bring a Kelly Cup, you know, it's got to be this group here going out and playing. So, you know, we're excited. And again, anytime you can play at home, honestly, in front of, you just mentioned in front of our crowd, it's amazing. They come out, they're exciting to play in front of, and, you know, it's a great atmosphere there for sure.
Hey, what's up, coaches? Austin Lane here. Just how important are the games towards the end of the regular season in terms of building, you know, that momentum towards the playoffs and whatnot?
Right. That's, you know, you've been through it there. Any type of sport, you know, at the end of the year, you want to kind of get all the cylinders going in the right way and have everybody, you know, it's less stressful, I think, away from the game. But once you get to the game, you're all dialed in. And, that's what makes it exciting. Everybody just ramps it up to a whole new different level. Like, even as a coach, like, holy smokes, where the guys get that from? But, you know, it's proven, you know, in every sport, it's just a whole different game in playoffs, and that's what really makes it exciting.
Jason Christie, Jacksonville Icemen coach, with us. Got a game in Greenville tonight, and then home tomorrow night and Saturday night. Then they'll hit the road for the final few games of the regular season, trying to finish this thing up with a playoff berth. And we got playoff hockey, hopefully, in Jacksonville. you've been around the ECHL a long, long time. I'm looking at the standings in the Eastern Conference. You've got in the 6th spot Maine with 73 points. Then you and Brampton 72. And then 3 teams with 70 and even Reading with 68. So you go from 6 to 12, and there's 5 points that separate. Is that usual in the ACHL, or is this kind of a different year where everybody's crowded together for those last couple of spots?
Honestly, this is the first year where it's been like this. Like, it's just so evenly matched, Brent. I haven't seen it this close in a long time, but, that just goes to show how good the league really is. And when you can have that many teams fighting for it right down the stretch here, for us, it's battling with South Carolina and Atlanta right now. And Orlando, we win our games, Brent. We still have a chance to finish in second place above Orlando because we play them 2 more times. So, it's still a juggle match. But again, like I told the guys yesterday, it's, all we can look at right now is just one game at a time and be ready to go here tonight, get on the bus, and be ready to go Friday at home.
All right. You guys do that. Take care of business tonight in Greenville. We'll see you tomorrow night, ESPN 699. Make sure you get out to the arena. 7:30, they drop the puck, and Austin and I will be there. Coach, we're a little disappointed you're on the road tonight because Austin was going to skate with you in the morning, but I know you get in so late you won't have a morning skate.
Yeah, well, tell you guys make sure you stop down anyways. I'm sure the guys are trying to get them some skates out there.
Oh, I already have my own skates, so I'm all set there, Coach.
Sharpen them up.
There you go.
All right, Jason Christie, good luck tonight, man. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
All right, Jason Christie, the head coach of the Jacksonville Icemen. Again, I mean, that is a logjam there in the ECHL, and it'd be pretty cool. Year 2 of the Jacksonville Icemen to get some playoff hockey.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe that schedule that they had where they're traveling tonight and then have to play tomorrow. I mean, that's a crazy lack of sleep, especially a physical game like hockey, man, where it's demanding on your body. Man, that's rough.
It is interesting. You played a demanding sport, and there's a lot of talk all the time, right, about Sundays going into a Thursday night game or even the short week of a Monday night football game to a Sunday. I think a lot of that is you guys are creatures of habit, and so you have such a routine because normally before all this TV went really crazy, it was Sundays, you played football in the NFL, and then a Monday night game. Well, now you got Thursdays and some Saturdays, and heck, before we know it, we'll have Fridays and Tuesdays in the NFL. They'll have it every single night, but in colleges, they do. I mean, the schedule really fluctuates in college. So I find that interesting. I wonder which is more taxing on the body. You're playing a super violent game, so I understand that. But if you think about, when you think about traveling, if people travel and you fly, there's almost nothing more exhausting than flying.
Especially when you change time zones and whatnot.
I mean, It just wears you out for whatever reason. Some people from the stress of it, some people from the time zone change of it, some because you have to get up super early to get an early flight, whatever it might be. And think about what Major League Baseball players do, 162 games throughout the course of the season. I don't think – I know it's baseball. You're not getting hit.
Getting ready to jump on you a little bit there, Brent, but don't you ever compare baseball to football.
Understand. Yeah. But what I'm wondering about, though, is the taxing of your body because you do at least get a 5 to 6 day break to refresh your body in football. And the travel is not as much. In minor league baseball alone, I mean, you're going – You get done with the game at 10 o'clock. You hit the road for a bus ride, and you don't get in until 9 o'clock the next morning in another city, and then you're playing again that night. Major League Baseball, they're flying, so they're saying it's better to do it. But they do that for 7 months. And Jason Christie just kind of mentioned it, too. It's just the way it is. They're used to it. But my whole point of this is I know which game's more violent. I get it. But I don't know which is worse for your recovery to perform at your best.
Well, I'll tell you what sucks, because obviously I played 5 years, so from football I have pretty good knowledge. I played hockey as a kid, and it's funny because, obviously I still go skating and whatnot. It's amazing how sore you get just from skating, because as a kid, I mean, you can do anything. Yeah. You have so much energy. Nowadays, man, I'm getting up there where I go skating, I'm getting pretty sore. But from the football perspective, yes, you're going to be sore, obviously. It's a violent and physical game, especially, I feel like, in the trenches. And even receivers take big hits, too. I mean, I'm not going to categorize it. Punters and kickers, long snappers, probably feel pretty good after a game. Everybody else is hurting. What really sucked, though, was having to get on a plane and travel like 3 or 4 hours after a game, because you have to remember, if you're in an airplane, inflammation starts to rise and you start getting swelled up a little bit. So from that perspective, you sit on a plane for a couple hours, you get off that plane, man, you're limping, you're hobbling. And then, I mean, I'm not sure I can speak for every single football player, but me personally, I always like to have a couple basic beverages when I get back to Jacksonville. So I'd go to the bar and have a couple drinks, and that's not helping anything either. So from that perspective, it takes because obviously Monday is kind of like the day that you go lift and everything, and you kind of, they just want to see you get warmed up a little bit and try to get the inflammation out. Tuesday is the off day, and then Wednesday you're kind of back at it. So those 2 days, man, you're hurting, and then magically Wednesday, usually you kind of have a little more pep in your step because you're about to go to practice.
The one thing I would just absolutely hate, and I actually feel for when we're on the Jags trips, is the guy that just has a really bad injury on the road. And then trying to get back on the plane. And now some guys will stay, right, if they have to. I mean, if it's really bad. But I'm just talking even it happens, right? Say you break your leg in a game. I mean, it's happened.
Yeah, you got to fly back on the plane, your leg's all propped up. And
I mean, I know in the past, like,
stewardess is hitting it with the thing.
those are always the trips that, like, it takes the longest to get back because you're usually waiting for that guy. And we've been on trips over the years. This probably goes back 6-7 years, but where they, there might have been, like, multiple guys. And I got to believe it's even worse if it's like the West Coast thing, and it's different if you're flying from Indy, but if you're going from Oakland, a little bit different. So not a lot of fun. What do we got coming up tonight, Marcel Robinson, as you haven't taken the shades off in this entire segment?
We got a little live TV magic going on is what we got going on.
We do. We're going over to a little – I should have asked John about this earlier. He was in, and we were talking about the Jaguars. It looks like they will purchase the Gator Bowl, the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, and run that event. Details a little muddy still, but we were talking to John about what that means and what's really the impact of it a little bit ago. And this is John's event. We're going to go live from, but he's on the board, I think, for Make-A-Wish here in Jacksonville. So it's a Wish Madness event. So it'll be March Madness. They got a little, obviously something to eat, some beverages, but the basketball theme. And we're going to do a little live sports over there. That's that.
That's it. What more do you need?
We got to dig into FSU Pro Day.
Yep.
And Brian Burns, see how he did.
Spider Burns, as they call him.
Spider Burns. I like that's a good nickname.
I'm not mad at that.
I like it.
It's a really good nickname. How's your bracket doing, Marcel?
I'm doing actually pretty good. The only quadrant where I'm really struggling, but I should be okay, is the North Carolina bracket. I've lost about, maybe 6 or 7 teams, but other than that, I'm looking pretty good.
Word is Nasir Little, kid from Orange Park who ended up playing high school ball in Orlando, but he plays for North Carolina, had 20 points the other night in, I think, just 21 minutes, too. Very big contribution, but he's got the flu. Could be a game-time call against Auburn. So for anybody who has North Carolina, that could be a blow for them. Like, all these big teams have actually had a little bit of that stuff to deal with, right? Kentucky, P.J. Washington.
A little adversity.
I don't even really – we can debate how healthy Duke is at times, even with – the great Zion.
Even Phil Kofer situation.
Then obviously the Kofer situation with Florida State, which he's not there with the team. It surprised you at all? He wasn't, I guess, a tough situation. I shouldn't say surprises, but I was interested that he was there. Yeah, I was surprised. I should say I'm more surprised he was there on Saturday. Like, it happened Thursday after the game. I was surprised he was there Saturday and then not there this week. But I don't.
There's no telling what's going on, situation. Man.
And by the way, there's a fantastic article by Andrea Adelson on ESPN about that whole emotion of it. If you get a chance to read it, it's pretty. It really illustrates what happened there in that Florida State locker room.
Yeah. His absence doesn't shock me at all. I've been in that situation. It's just like there's nothing going on but just air.
Sucks the life out of you, and you just hope it didn't suck the life out of the team from Florida State's perspective, because it's an emotional roller coaster they're riding the last week for sure. All right, Marcel Robinson, he'll do his thing on the TV side. We'll do our thing when we come back. Brett Myers, former big league pitcher, talk a little baseball. He joins us next on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and the dancers get dancing again today as the NCAA tourney picks back up with the Sweet 16. Florida State poised to take on a tough Gonzaga squad whose coach Mark Few says the Seminoles play keeps him up at night.
Man, oh man, are they a very, very good basketball team that just does a great job defensively taking you out of what you want to do and coming both on the glass and in transition, and then when they're making threes like they did last game, very impressive.
Tip-off tonight at 7 p.m. on CBS 47. Baseball's back with opening day kicking off around the country today, but it seems like the drama is actually centering around a players poll in which Bryce Harper's peers called the $330 million man the most overrated player in the league. It's actually the second time Harper won the distinction from his MLB brethren. The last time was in 2015, to which he responded by winning the MVP that year. Can't get enough baseball? Make sure to keep it locked right here for the defending World Series champion Red Sox, who are taking on the Mariners tonight on ESPN 690.
When things go wrong, you need help to make it right. Call the law offices of John Phillips at 904-444-4444. John will be by your side as an advocate and as a friend. Personal injury, family, and criminal law. If trouble finds you, John Phillips can help. He is a board-certified expert in civil trial. Give John a call, 904-444-4444, or visit floridajustice.com.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by Community First with tickets starting at just $5. Opening weekend is April 4th through the 8th. Don't miss opening day presented by Firehouse Subs and Rimrock Devlin with free magnet schedules courtesy of Crawford Electric and post-game fireworks. Tickets on sale now. Call 358-2846 or jackshrimp.com. Affordable family fun.
Shop now and save on these items and more. On sale now at your neighborhood Ace. 100% Cypress mulch or red mulch. Your choice in 2 cubic foot bags, now 4 bags for $9. Shop Ace for proven winners. Gorgeous Blew My Mind flowers, just $4.99 in the 1 gallon size. Roundup ready-to-use weed and grass killer 3 with pump and go sprayer, now just $19.99, including a free refill. Find more great deals and the location nearest you at jacksace.com. Sale ends March 31st.
Ace is the place with the
Why do local women watch Action News, Jacks? Because the unexpected can mess up their day. They like to know about the rain, the recalls, and school changes because their families are depending on them. They need more than just crime stories. They want to be in the know with real investigations that truly impact them, not something they could just Google. Is that selfish? We don't think so. Their time is valuable. In fact, more women are now watching Action News, Jacks than any other station.
Have you always wanted to know a guy in the boat business? You now have a guy. Guy Morrison and his staff at Consignment Boat Sales will help you with selling or buying a boat. Consignment Boat Sales offers a professional and no-hassle way of helping boat owners sell their pre-owned boats and assisting soon-to-be boat owners with finding that quality pre-owned boat. Consignment Boat Sales will help you in valuing your boat, preparing it for market, performing water tests with potential buyers, and finalizing the sale by handling the closing documents. Consignment Boat Sales is looking for quality bay boats, flat boats, center consoles, skiffs, and deck boats from 14 foot to 30 foot. Find them just past the ferry landing on the way to the Mayport Public Boat Ramp. You now have a guy in the boat business. Find Guy at jaxboating.com. That's JAX boating.com. To help you sell your boat or purchase a pre-owned boat, contact Consignment Boat Sales today at jaxboating.com.
Outside of, I know the answer was it was a business decision, couldn't pass that up, a 1 and a 3 and a player in Jabril Peppers. Is Jabril Peppers that 1 or that 3? Is any of them going to get close to the talent of Odell Beckham Jr.?
Golic and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
You watch Action Sports Jacks on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jacks is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
Turn this up a little bit. Austin Lane.
Let's see where this goes now. I'm not mad at the beginning. Let's see what we got here.
We're going to let it play a little bit. Hey, that's a little Brett Myers music right there. We got Brett Myers on the line right now. What are you, in a wind tunnel or something?
No, I'm heading to ball practice. You know that feeling, don't you?
What's this, 9-year-old ball practice?
8U.
8U.
8U tonight. So Monday, Wednesday, I got 14U. Tuesday, Thursday, I got 8U, and Friday's my 7-year-old. And then the weekend, whatever tournament one of them's in.
Hey, nothing better, right? Nothing better.
I don't know, man. I'd like a night off. That'd be good. Feels like I'm back playing again.
Yeah, I bet it does. Hey, does it?
Arm feels the same.
Yeah, that's right. Brett Myers, former big league pitcher, of course, World Series champ with the Philadelphia Phillies. With us, Jacksonville guy, Inglewood guy, and former first-round pick. Joins us now on ESPN 690. First of all, I haven't talked to you in a little bit. Hope you've been doing well. But does opening day still do something for you, or are you well beyond that now that you haven't played in a few years?
No, opening day definitely does something for me. I mean, it's kind of like it's a playoff atmosphere because all the fans want to get back into it and stuff. And once that edge knocks off after opening day, it's right back to business. But opening day means a lot. It's just like a playoff atmosphere, and it's exactly the way it was when we were playing in the playoffs. So you kind of take it for granted, because you got a long season ahead. But you can get excited each time. And I mean, I was interested. I've been watching the Phillies today, just trying to see what all those acquisitions that they got, what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the fun of it, right? Especially, and then it settles in, like you said, maybe the first day or two, but then it kind of settles in. It's such a long season. What are your thoughts on what the Phillies, obviously you used to have deep roots there, deep ties, love affair with that organization after the success, and you spent most of your career. Do you love the fact they got Harper? Do you love what they're doing, a young team around a superstar guy like that?
Absolutely. I think that's what happened with us in 08. We had our young core guys, and they went out and grabbed some pieces, and we put it all together. I'm actually more excited that they got McCutchen and Segura and Real Muto than I am Harper, because now they have protection for him, and that helps a guy out that's making $330 million a lot, because you don't know who you want to pitch to there, So I mean, with that lineup, the first 5 guys is going to be tough to get through.
Is Bryce ready for Philly? I mean, it's a totally different animal playing in Philly. I think didn't Eli Manning just say something? Someone had a quote about like a 9-year-old flipping you off and calling you stuff that you never.
Well, it was calling him stuff, and he actually talked smack about his mom as well. Yeah. So I mean, Philly's a rough place.
Listen, you know it, and I know you well enough to know. Hey, you can handle it. You can fit right in there in Philly. But is Bryce, from what you know of him or what you see of him? I mean, is he in for a bit of a rude awakening? I mean, you go for a 2 for 30 slump and look out,
Yeah, I think they're going to be, he's 0 for 2 today, and they're still cheering, so that's a good sign. But I'm telling you, if it keeps up, they will ride him. Those fans are very knowledgeable. They know the game. I've had fans come up to me when I'm out eating dinner and tell me that I sucked that day, and I was like, you know what, you suck too. So, but like I knew when I was bad. I didn't need somebody else to tell me when I wasn't playing up to my capabilities. But some people can handle it there, and some people are like, that's the worst city I've ever played in my life. And I'm like, well, you win there one time and watch what happens. It's a different atmosphere, and I enjoyed it because I took it to heart what they said, because it was like my dad getting on to me telling me that I sucked too, because that's the way it was when I was growing up, You have to have some accountability to play in that city. If not, then you might as well pack it up and find somewhere else to play.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, you do, no doubt about it. And you think about guys, if you do win there, like you said, I mean, there is that love affair. And obviously the Jags just got Nick Foles, and they love that guy, I mean, forever, because he won a Super Bowl championship in Philly. It's a fantastic sports town. You just better have a little thick skin when things don't go right. How about, hey, baseball in general? You spend a lot of time now at the younger levels and coaching and being around it, but there's all these things. I'm a traditionalist when it comes to baseball, but you also can't be blind to the fact that things change, and I get it. We're talking pitch clocks, and we're talking games are too long, and we're talking replay. And what does all this conversation about changing the game bother you? Do you think they're headed in the right direction? Does it need to change? What are your thoughts on some of those big picture items with baseball?
I'm an old school type player. I've always been that way. Even when I played, and I saw the new school start changing where they were. I was already ready to pitch when they started doing the pitch count clocks and everything. It started probably my last year in Philly, 2009, when they started introducing that. And they were going to try it out, and I was not a fan of it. I mean, I didn't really care, honestly, because I got the ball and I was ready to go. And I understand trying to speed up the game because it does take a while to watch a Major League Baseball game, but it does watch in football too. But I guess they say there's more action in football because there's something going on all the time. When baseball, you're focused on the hitter and the pitcher. So, I mean, I don't like the analytic stuff that they're doing and all that stuff. I'm like, it's like you're making it very complicated. You have a bunch of guys that graduated from these Ivy League schools crunching numbers, basically playing fantasy baseball with these guys' careers. And it's frustrating because then some guys don't get the opportunity because their numbers don't match up with all this. I don't even know what WAR and all that stuff means. And I couldn't tell you, man. I was always ERA and batting average to tell me if you're good or not. I mean, the guy's hitting 300, he's a good player, but then their WAR says he stinks. Or whatever that means. I don't even know what that means. So I'm more of an old school type player, and I think they shouldn't change the game because it's the game I grew up loving and still do. I just hope the replay thing is probably something that they needed to introduce because there's a lot of guys that they can't see the thing or whether it's foul or fair and stuff like that. I think that does help a little bit, but the other stuff that they're doing, I have no clue about. I just wish they'd leave it alone, honestly.
Hey, what's up, Brett, man? This is Austin Lane here. Speaking of changing the game, if you followed the Milwaukee Brewers last year, they kind of had a different philosophy in terms of pitching where they only had their starters out there for a couple innings and then really relied on their bullpen to kind of save the day and whatnot. What are your thoughts about the philosophy? Can it be sustained? Well, is it kind of the future of baseball? What do you think?
Absolutely not, because I don't believe that can happen. What I'm saying. I don't know what that noise is. Anyway, so what the whole thing is with the philosophy of that is you're going to wear your bullpen down by the time August happens.
Yeah,
and it doesn't work out.
Yeah, you certainly can do that. No doubt about it. What do they call you, by the way, at the ball field now? Coach Brett, Dad, Brett, old timer.
I would say Coach Brett.
Yeah.
More than anything.
That sounds right.
Fair enough.
I'm having some bad interference right now, guys. Hold on a second. All right, there.
Yeah, a little better. A little better.
I don't know what that was.
Well,
sorry.
Hey, it's okay. No problem. We were hearing you just fine, but you might have been getting a little feedback on your end. Hey, I know you grew up boxing, right?
Yep.
Austin here's MMA fighter. I mean, what can you do? Can you do some MMA? I mean, life after. I mean, I know you're singing now. We'll get into that in a moment. But I mean, could MMA fighting? Come on, get in the cage, man.
There was a reason why I quit boxing. I got tired of getting hit in the face. I didn't like
it. Fair enough.
I mean, I didn't mind hitting them. I just did not like getting hit back.
A question I've always had was, do you find boxing would be actually beneficial for a baseball player, especially, with the shoulder endurance and whatnot? I mean, could that actually increase your miles per hour like on a fastball? Is training boxing? Obviously not get hit in the face or anything, but...
Right. I honestly, my first years when I got drafted and everything, and even when I was younger in high school, my dad was a boxing trainer, and that's the only way I trained, with boxing and jumping rope and stuff like that for endurance and everything like that. And then I used to train with one of his old fighters, and so I think it was beneficial to me, just because I think it's wrestling and boxing is some of the hardest endurance sports that you got to endure. In sports, and I know that you can go out there for 3 minutes and try to throw 100 punches, and you won't be able to pick up your arms.
Yeah.
So I think that actually does help with. It could build shoulder strength and everything like that. Pitching's more of a deceleration muscle that you have to build up, other than the acceleration muscles.
Yeah, it makes some sense. No doubt about it. By the way, it sounds like you're driving a monster truck.
Well, it's a diesel.
All right, hey, I'm gonna let you go to practice and hit some fungos in a moment, and teach the next generation how to throw a fastball. But
I hope so. Teach us those strikes first.
throw strikes. Hey, you know this. We got the strikes down. We just don't have the fastball down.
That's okay. I tell you what, little Ty gave them some trouble that weekend. I heard they said we couldn't hit him. I said, that's why you want him on your team.
But we brought you in with a little rattlesnake. That's one of your songs, and you've got a couple albums out now. I'll be honest with you. I thought you may jump in the music foray for a little bit, but this kind of seems like you're in for the long haul. Give us an update on, we've done a story on it with TV in the past. Give us an update on where you're at with this country music thing. How's it going? You still enjoying it? Is it headed in a positive direction? What you got on the music scene now?
Yeah, it's we're actually almost finished with our fourth album, and we're trying to actually, it's going to happen. We're the booking agent now, and we're supposed to go out on the road in June. That's the next step. Is what we need to do is get it in front of people other than people in Jacksonville and try to get it out over the state. And we actually are opening for Craig Morgan July 4th in Oregon.
Really?
A long way from Florida all the way to Oregon. So and that's kind of where the tour is going to take us, all the way up there, and then we're going to try to hit Philly and come back down towards the south. So we're working out the details now, and it's looking like it's going to be a go. But I don't want to necessarily go back out on the road, but I said, as long as it's not during my kids' baseball season, I'll give it a shot, and we can see what happens.
There we go.
You know what's interesting about it? Like, Austin obviously is doing MMA now, and he says even if it's 5,000 or 6,000 people in that arena when you're in the cage, he actually says it almost feels different, better adrenaline rush than being in front of 60,000, 70,000 people in a football stadium. I'm interested in, from your point of view, you played in Philly, you played in a lot of MLB stadiums, played in Yankee Stadium, all the big places. But being on that mound by yourself, or just what's the different, or is it better of a rush performing? I think you've done some concerts with Colt Ford and other folks. Right. So what's the comparison, or is there one from a rush kind of standpoint and enjoyment level kind of standpoint for the performer?
Well, I guess athletes in general, we're always looking for that next adrenaline rush, I guess. And once you're done playing, you got to try to find it. And I didn't know that it was going to be this, but people say that to me all the time, like, because I tell them I'm freaking out, man. I'm nervous, man. I've been doing this for about 5 years now, 4 or 5 years, and they're like, but you pitched in front of 45,000 people before. I said, you got to understand, I'm doing that since I was 5.
Yeah,
I've been working on it since I was 5, and that finally, got there when I was 21. I said I had almost 17 years to prepare for that. I'm like, this was like thrown right into the fire. So obviously, it's a little, after, I wouldn't call myself a veteran, but I would say that it's feeling more comfortable. But the adrenaline rush is what we're all searching for.
Absolutely.
That's because that's where we were. We want to be. I mean, how many times as a little kid did you used to say, "Hey, it's 3-2 count, bases loaded, bottom of the ninth"? I mean, I still do that.
Yeah, I usually strike out.
Yeah, well, I mean, either way, put yourself in that situation to try to, either fail or succeed, and that's something that I've always tried to do, whether it's the music or baseball. I'm trying to do something that I enjoy doing, and because baseball won't have me anymore, they told me to go home.
Yeah, and you can't find that in the third base coaching box in 9-year-old baseball. I can tell you that.
Well, I tell you what, I have a lot of fun with these kids. I really do, because you really understand that they're 8-year-old kids. They just don't. They have no idea what you're trying to tell them half the time, and you're only hoping they catch half of it.
Brett, before we let you go, I want to get your opinion on, because obviously you're a country music artist now. What is your opinion of country music? Because I've heard a couple of your songs.
Here we go.
Well, I'm just going to say, because so Brett.
Serve it up.
No, so with Brett, I respect him, man, because he seems like it's like more, I don't want to say outlaw country, but I don't want to say you push boundaries, but it's entertaining stuff. It's not generic, just everyday stuff that you hear on the radio. So my opinion, right. So my question to you is, are you a fan of the country music these days, or are you a little more of the old school type?
Well, I'm a fan of Skinner and Southern rock, basically, more than anything. And I just the country music that are played today they're singing about the same girl and I'm like, wow, it's the same girl that I just heard in that last song. And then they brainwash it. they brainwash you on
She
the
gets
dang.
around.
They just say it a different way. Yeah, and then they brainwash you on the radio and play it 97 times a day. It's like, hey, it's the same song. I switched to the radio. It's the same song on the other station. I'm like, oh my God. So I've actually caught myself several times saying, I hear a song on the radio. I'm like, this is terrible. And then after about the 15th time, I'll go buy it.
Yeah.
And I feel like a dummy. I'm like, I hated this thing, but now I kind of like it. then I got my wife and kids playing it all around the house. I have no choice. So yes, I know I don't like any of the pop country they're doing. It doesn't fit my personality whatsoever, But I can't knock them for making a living doing it, because they are. People love it. That's the only thing I can say about it. I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of it, but if everybody else is, more power to you.
Hey, we appreciate your time, Brett. Thanks, man, for joining us. Yep. MLB opening day. Good luck. And, hey, where can everybody find the music?
It's on iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, anywhere you can get it digitally. You can go to YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere.
Awesome. Good stuff. Brett Myers, former big leaguer from Jacksonville. Now, country music star. We'll play it 15 times. Hey, can we send him out of here with Rattlesnake? Let's do it. We got to pump that one up a little bit more. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you, guys. All right.
I hear that rattlesnake. I know you're ready for another drink. Go ahead and fill that kitty cup up in the back of my truck. Let's see that booty shake, just like a rattlesnake.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690's hitting the road on Friday, and you've got 2 chances to see Brent and Austin live. Up first, they're going to be at Stogie Fest from 3 to 6 p.m. at Aroma Cigar Bar. To find out how you can attend Stogie Fest, go to stogiefest.com. And right when they're done with their show, they're heading to the ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena for ESPN 690 night with the Jacksonville Icemen. Buy your discounted tickets to ESPN night right now on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
The best kept secret in tires is TireOutlet.com. Tire Outlet offers you wholesale prices with premium service. And most important, TireOutlet.com has always had a safety-first focus. With locations throughout the First Coast, check out TireOutlet.com today.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martin of Action Sports Jackson. Many of you know by now I'm a huge advocate for Hyundai vehicles. We actually drive a Hyundai in our family, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, take it from me. There's no better place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle than Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. The car buying experience should be smooth and seamless, and that's the experience you'll get from my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. Take a look at their specials and incentives at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. All you have to do is click the Specials tab, and you can find specials and incentives for new Hyundai vehicles. One thing you don't have to worry about at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is being haggled by a salesperson. Their sales staff are pros, and they're on your team from getting you into the car you want with the best possible financing plan. Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is second to none. Schedule a test drive at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com or at the showroom on Atlantic Boulevard. And tell them Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks sent you.
The 4th annual Touch a Truck event is coming to Jacksonville March 30th at the Regency Square Mall parking lot. We are offering First Coast families the chance and opportunity to climb all over trucks and vehicles that are normally off limits. Guests are asked to bring non-perishable items to be donated to Feeding Northeast Florida. You can find more information, visit ESPN690.com or find us on social media. Just search ESPN 690.
Shop now and save on these items and more. On sale now at your neighborhood Ace. 100% Cypress mulch or red mulch. Your choice in 2 cubic foot bags, now 4 bags for $9. Shop Ace for proven winners. Gorgeous Blew My Mind flowers, just $4.99 in the 1 gallon size. Roundup ready-to-use weed and grass killer 3 with pump and go sprayer, now just $19.99, including a free refill. Find more great deals and the location nearest you at jacksace.com. Sale ends March 31st.
Hi,
Hi, this is Earl Ron, president of New South Window. New South is Florida's factory direct window company. We cut out the middleman and his markups because we manufacture, install, and guarantee your windows for life. Our new manufacturing facility has tomorrow's technology today to make sure your windows are built for Florida's extreme weather. Don't even think about buying windows from anyone else till you see what our factory can do for you. From our factory to your home. Now that's Factory Direct.
Buy more, save more. Volume discount up to 30%. Visit newsouthwindow.com.
From Daytona Beach to Brunswick, now ESPN can be heard loud and clear everywhere on one of the most powerful AM radio stations in Florida. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. This is ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Mike Golick from Golick and Wingo. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks with our friend Brent Martineau on ESPN 690.
Well, let's get a quick balling and falling in. We're up against the top of the hour in just a couple of minutes. Good to have Brett Myers on. Earlier we had Jason Christie, the Iceman coach, on as well. So good to catch up on a variety of different sports here on this Thursday, opening day in Major League Baseball. And for all the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks, that's a good ballin'. I love opening day. My ballin' goes to opening day in Major League Baseball. 7 o'clock right here on ESPN 690. The Boston Red Sox will play the Seattle Mariners. That's the only thing you should care about. Tampa Bay is losing to Houston 3-1. Dodgers are winning 1-0. Phillies have a 3-1 lead over Atlanta. Texas 2, Chicago 0. Yankees 1, Mets 1. Milwaukee does hang on to win 5-4. Although that bullpen did give up one run.
2 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts.
Gosh, some of those guys are just so good. So good. I mean, Scherzer struck out 12. DeGrom struck out 10. They are really, really good. So that's my ballin'. Falling real quick for me. How about this? Greg Schiano abruptly leaves his job as the Patriots defensive coordinator, and now it's just trickling out. Just came out a little bit ago, and he says he needs to spend more time on my faith and family. Schiano's an interesting character in the world of coaching football.
That he is.
And you wonder what this is about. What's the deeper meaning here? He says, I don't want to look back years from now and wish I had done things differently. Therefore, I'm taking time away from the game to recalibrate my priorities. I don't know. Yeah, listen, you don't want to question. Maybe there's something family-wise going on.
Well, and this is bad to say, but is there going to be a scandal that comes? That's exactly where my mind goes away when a coach leaves
he's been associated with scandal at time, and I think sometimes mischaracterized and wrongly so, because he's a hothead kind of guy, and I think it's dangerous. But it does make you curious now.
Yep. Quick, do my ballin' and falling. So, ballin', you actually stole my idea. It was opening day baseball, man. So
we've been talking about it. It's a fun day to talk baseball.
Ballin' real quick. Jordan Bell of the Golden State Warriors was benched Wednesday for conduct detrimental to the team. What kind of conduct? He charged something to his room on assistant coach Mike Brown's account. My only question is, what the hell did he charge? How much was it? And was it really that big of a deal?
Can I have your credit card?
No, you cannot.
Hey, check in on the Gators. Dan Mullen, what he has to say about today's scrimmage, kind of before the scrimmage, and also what's going on in Tallahassee with Brian Burns and Pro Day. A little update on that in the 5 o'clock hour on ESPN 690.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. And if you're even thinking about taking a look at a new car, you need to go see my friends at the new Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. If you haven't seen the new 2019 Hyundai Kona, head over to Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard and take it for a test drive. The 2019 Hyundai Kona was named the North American Utility Vehicle of the Year. It has enough room for the family, but it's not too big. It really is the ideal crossover vehicle. If you don't need something as big as a crossover or full-sized SUV, check out the new 2019 Hyundai Elantra sedan. It's a very slick car, and it starts at only $17,985. The manufacturer also offers $2,000 cash back on select 2019 Hyundai Elantras, but the offer is only valid through April 1st. The Hyundai you want, the service you deserve, all with a 7-day money-back guarantee. Schedule a test drive at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.com and make sure you tell them Brent Martineau sent you.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. On opening day at Yankee Stadium, the home team got all the runs they'd need on one swing of the bat.
Ripped to center field. This one's deep. Back goes Mullins, looking up. It's gone. Luke Voigt starts things off with a bang. A 3-run home run.
Carl Ravitch on ESPN. Voigt drives in 4. The Yankees beat the Orioles 7-2. Other finals today. The Brewers beat the Cardinals 5-4. A 3-run home run for Christian Yelich. The Mets over the Nationals 2-0. Jacob deGrom goes 6 scoreless, striking out 10. And right now on ESPN in the second inning, the Dodgers lead the Diamondbacks 3-0. The Sweet 16 tips off tonight in the West. Gonzaga plays Florida State, then Michigan and Texas Tech. In the South, Tennessee plays Purdue, and then Virginia meets Oregon. North Carolina freshman forward Nasir Little will be a game-time decision tomorrow night against Auburn. He has flu-like symptoms. ESPN's Jeff Borzello reports St. Joe's hires 76ers assistant Billy Lang as head coach.
The Pizzone from Pizza Hut. It's meaty, cheesy, and you know it's big. The Pepperoni Pizzone is back and part of the $5 lineup. 2 or more, just $5 each. No one outpizzas the Hut. Ask or click for offer. Product availability, prices, participation, and delivery areas and minimums vary. Delivery charge is not a driver tip.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
So if you missed it, Greg Schiano stepping down as Patriots defensive coordinator just got hired. And now it's faith and family for Greg Schiano, according to his quotes. So very interesting story developing out of New England in terms of Greg Schiano. Belichick commented and said he's been a great friend. So there's going to be something more coming out there. I don't know what it is, but you know, and you hate to say it, but it's just the way it is. I mean, this stuff doesn't happen. These guys are football guys. They don't just step away because of the family. I mean, unless they're, and again, I always hate to kind of have such a negative connotation about that, and maybe be critical of what really is the truth, because maybe there is a family issue. You never know. There could be an illness. There could be something like that says, hey, I'm going to go spend time. And that's admirable, by the way.
No, absolutely.
So maybe that's the case. But it just feels like with Schiano and his past and things that have been talked about and stuff that's come up. And again, I think he's been hammered at times that he shouldn't have been. The whole Tennessee thing was a little out of whack. But it just smells of something.
It does, because and if it was in his case, you don't have to be specific if it was a family issue, but maybe he would say, I need time. There is a family issue that I have to address, so I need to walk away from football. That wasn't the case. If I came in tomorrow and I was like, Brent, dude, thanks for the opportunity at ESPN 690, man, but I got to focus on my faith and family a little bit. What would you think? You'd probably think, something's about to happen with me.
Well, I would say, hey, this is good timing. At least you're expected to get paid for the first time tomorrow.
Exactly. Thank you for your services. We'll see you later. So, yeah, from that perspective, and I hate to be that guy that's trying to think the worst of everything, that's trying to put on that tinfoil hat and dig deeper into his statement, but it just really does make you wonder, especially the fact that he just got that job and everything.
He's with the New England Patriots.
It's the New England Patriots, yeah.
And it felt like he was close to getting something again. If he,
of course,
you know what I mean.
Listen, this guy hasn't had a clean track record. When it comes to the terms of coaching, so the Patriots defensive coordinator job is obviously a highly coveted job that he earned, and just to kind of abandon it and walk away. It's a little baffling.
Now, listen, in this case, Bob Stoops left coaching football at Oklahoma, and he left it abruptly at the age of 56. Greg Schiano's 52. And, I mean, it's not like it's
unheard of, I guess, in that sense. We kind of wondered a little bit about Stoops, I think, at the time, because he seems kind of young to do that in this profession. And the bottom line is, in this profession, people stay, and they stay forever, and they almost can't let go. I mean, Steve Spurrier is still coaching, right?
Yeah.
Bobby Bowden stayed forever. Yeah. Guys do that. That's what happens. And so 56 is young. 52 is young. Now, again, and I think you do have to be very cautious here, because you never know if Greg Schiano's got something going on. I mean, you never know. So I think from an illness standpoint or something like that, I just want to be a little careful in speculating what this could be. But I also kind of wonder, midlife crisis used to be like in your early 40s. Has it shifted to like your early 50s? Just said, okay, I'm rethinking exactly what I want to do with my life. And I mean, all these things pop in my mind when something like this happens. You're a defensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, for Bill Belichick, with Tom Brady. Life is pretty good.
It is, Brent, and I'm sure you've seen it firsthand. I've obviously seen it firsthand. Listen, I love the game of football. I love talking football, and I love teaching it. I mean, I've taught some kids in our neighborhood who we used to have practices outside by my backyard and whatnot. But coaching is such a stressful job, and it is so time-consuming. I mean, where I sit right now is how talking to you, there's no way I'd ever want to be even like a college coach, and especially an NFL coach, because of the hours, of the stress, of just the accountability nonstop. So maybe that's a situation where he stepped in a new spot and he just kind of felt overwhelmed, and mentally he wasn't there, and he decided to step away. Like you mentioned Stoops, at least with Stoops, Stoops had that thing in Oklahoma. I mean, he was there for a long time, right? Like he was, yeah, exactly.
Since like 2001 or 2.
Yeah. So I mean, he was,
and he left
used
it
to
in good hands, and that's important to a lot of the folks,
But from Schiano's standpoint of where you literally just accept this new job, and if there's a company, you're going to say it's a top company in your profession because it is the New England Patriots. They just won a Super Bowl. So to just walk away, I mean, obviously either there's something major going on or it's something's about to drop. And I hope for everyone's sake, it's maybe, I don't want to say it's a health issue because that's horrible too, but I hope there's nothing like a scandal going on is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and that's what, again, everything pops in your mind.
I don't know. It's crazy where our minds go, but that's the world of sports.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in.
Yeah, it's interesting about with the New England Patriots, and we'll see where it leaves them. Of course, one thing I was going to say for Ball, and I wanted to, before we got too far away from it, from the last segment, you see the LSU billboard?
I did, yeah.
That was pretty cool, I thought.
Classy, very classy on their part. Yeah,
that's good stuff. I like that stuff. I missed it. That was a couple of days ago. They tweeted it, and I just somehow missed it. But I saw that late last night. I thought that was pretty good. Why don't the losing teams share billboards?
I'm sure they're trying to get out of town. Thanks, Jacksonville. It's been real. But, well, this leads me to my next question here, Brent. How much does it cost to get a billboard?
That's a really good question because I'd like to be on one.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, that's exactly where I'm going. I'm trying to spread this business here.
I've heard.
Scott, any ideas?
No, man. I got nothing.
Okay.
That's a sales question.
Sure as hell into this ESPN 690 budget. I can tell you that. Whatever it is. But, we used to have this joke at home. I've told this story before, and I think I may have told you. But, getting into the TV business, and my dad, I think it was, he'd say, well, you haven't made it until you're on the side of a bus.
Stop getting so cocky.
My mom and dad, I think, would say. So we'd kind of joke around about that. But I wonder how much it is to get on the side of a bus.
I'm looking it up here.
It's hard to find, isn't it?
It is a little hard.
Want to do a campaign? I will tell you this.
Here's my thought. Hang on. I got to go. Go ahead.
We got, we were at the that bar at the arena the other day.
Yes, the bar at the arena.
Right, for the baseball grounds. And
which one you say? The bar.
Yeah, that bar at the arena. Yeah. We had the question come up because we had the teardrop, right? And we now have a tent, and we have a background, and we have the big teardrop thing, which is essentially, what is it? Essentially like a banner, like a tall banner. You can see it from a long way away. And so we said we need some of those floppy things, right?
Yep.
The crazy...
The wacky inflatable arm men.
Inflatable arm men.
Yes.
Well, Nick heard us talking about it.
No way.
And they actually do make them custom.
No way.
So we can get you and I inflatable arm men.
I mean, let's go. What are we
seriously,
waiting for?
if we get that, hey, Miss Jenny, neighbor... No. I'm going to get it. I'm going to put it on my lawn. I'm putting the teardrop in the banner.
Yeah.
I'm putting you and I, but I'm decorating my lawn with that.
No. Okay, so I was
for like
supposed
a
to,
week.
So I was supposed to get a check in the mail from, obviously Cox Media. Forget that. Put that check towards those inflatable armband, man. That's where the real money's got to go. Like this is an investment. This is getting written off of my taxes.
I said that to Nick. I was like, it's like $600 or something like that. I don't know what he said.
You can't put a price on that, Brent.
I said, no way. We're in.
Apparently, yes, you can.
I said, don't wait for that to be approved.
No.
We'll find the money. We'll raise the money. Can we
go
start a GoFundMe for that?
Let's go right now. Wacky inflatable armband, Brent and Austin coming at you hot. By the way, Brent, find out a little information about the billboards. The average cost of a billboard in Jacksonville, $1,900 per month.
A month?
Per month, yeah, I think so.
19?
Oh, wait, no, hang on.
Yeah, that might be like weekly.
It's a large number.
Because
no, we have 20 billboard panels available in Jacksonville with more coming out online every month. The average cost is $1,900.
$1,900. Now, is that digital or is that one that kind of stays there?
Here's an example, but I think it's one that stays there.
Okay. Well, the digital ones are probably a little bit cheaper because you can change them out.
I think the digital ones are probably running a little bit hotter than that because you're going to have the rotation on there. They're going to maximize every dollar they can get out of it.
But now, Brent, go and hear me out, though. So we can spend one in Jacksonville, or listen to this. There's a little brainstorm idea. Do we get like 10 billboards in just like Hodunk, middle of nowhere towns with like a population of maybe 2,000 that don't see any action at all, but all of a sudden, hey, here's Brent and Austin, ESPN 690, stream it on your cell phone. Maybe we start.
It's not a bad idea because we go from Melbourne, Florida, a couple hours south, all the way up to Charleston, South Carolina. So we could run those bad boys up and down the East Coast, is what you're saying.
Start on the perimeter and work your way back in.
I'm thinking West Coast. I'm thinking middle of Iowa, Midwest, because they can just stream it, podcast it.
Iowa.
Yeah, I'm going wherever,
only if
man.
we get Hawkinson.
Okay. Then maybe Hawkinson can sponsor it.
No, maybe we have a picture of Hawkinson around us, kind of like his arms around us.
Yeah,
so,
now we're talking.
I like this marketing plan, man.
Yeah,
I think
I'm not mad at it.
We might be. I thought you were going to ask me like if you could pick one spot in Jacksonville, where would you put it? That would be a tough. That would be a tough pick.
That'd be hard too.
The 95 merger.
95
I
merger.
did 95.
Yeah.
Is that the one like they have like lawyer after lawyer after lawyer after lawyer? So that must be a hot spot.
Breaks it up. Gives you something to listen to.
And listen, like I know they don't sponsor us. I probably should be mentioning them, but
easy.
But the one dude that rolls up his sleeves.
Easy.
You know who I'm talking? Okay, I'm not going to say anything. Okay.
I don't know because it might offend something.
Okay,
that's
what you trying to say, man? What you trying to say?
Well, no, I'm just saying this one dude rolls up his sleeves, man, like he's ready to fight. I'm like, I appreciate it. Okay, yeah, all good. That's all I'm going to say.
You know, Scott he did roll up his sleeves today, and I see he's got a sleeve. Have you asked him about the tattoo sleeve?
No. Okay. What you rocking there, man? I like that.
Wearing a little Asian flavor there.
Asian flavor.
What does that mean?
It's
dragons,
style,
dogs, all sorts of kung fu inspired stuff.
Okay. Well, and Scott, here's a fun fact. I have a food dog across my chest. So there we go, man. Match made in heaven.
Brothers in arms.
How many different things did we just talk about in that segment?
Man,
we got off
really
the
covering
rails.
All bases here, right?
When we come back, how did Brian Burns do today? Any drama coming out of Tallahassee? And Dan Mullen on his current football team and not his former players like we talked about yesterday. So we got a little college football talk. Stay in your lane, which we're completely out of, but make sure you stay in yours as you drive home on a Thursday and listening to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, Podunk Town, or right here in Jacksonville, Northeast Florida. You're listening.
Can I request that we make our MLB predictions today, too? Because you gave me homework. I spent 2 hours on it, and we haven't even touched the predictions yet.
We will do it. I
Thank
promise.
God. All right.
We will absolutely do it.
All right.
And I can guarantee you I won't put 4 teams in the World Series. I can guarantee you that.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau, family owned in Jacksonville for more than 40 years and fresh ingredients every day. That's what Renna's Pizza was built on, and that's what Renna's Pizza delivers. A menu to satisfy the entire family. Fantastic pizza, fresh salad, and Italian favorites like stuffed shells. There's a Renna's Pizza near you. Marsh Landing, Bay Meadows, Argyle Forest, San Jose, and the newest location in Neptune Beach. Be a part of the family today at Renna's Pizza.
It's time for some straight talk. Picture this. Your favorite team is playing. You're streaming the game. 10 seconds left. Your team shoots. Oops, your data runs out.
Look, don't let that happen. Switch to Straight Talk Wireless and get 25 gigs of high-speed data, all on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks.
Join Team Straight Talk and get unlimited talk and text plus 25 gigs of high-speed data for just $45 a month.
Straight Talk Wireless, everything for less, only at Walmart.
First 25 gigs at high speed, then 2G. See terms at straighttalk.com.
Calling all contractors, announcing the Ferguson and Ram Commercial Ultimate Van Giveaway. We're handing over the keys to a Ram Commercial ProMaster van stacked so high with brand name tools, you'll be glad you've got that 76 inches of cargo height. We'll even brand it for you, so there'll be no doubt who's riding in style. Worth over 100,000 big ones. Enter at Ferguson.com/Ram Van Giveaway. Hear that? That's opportunity hunting. No purchase necessary. For official rules and eligibility details, visit Ferguson.com/Ram Van Giveaway.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martin of Action Sports Jackson. Many of you know by now I'm a huge advocate for Hyundai vehicles. We actually drive a Hyundai in our family, and if you're in the market for a new vehicle, take it from me. There's no better place to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle than Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. The car buying experience should be smooth and seamless, and that's the experience you'll get from my friends at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. Take a look at their specials and incentives at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com. All you have to do is click the Specials tab, and you can find specials and incentives for new Hyundai vehicles. One thing you don't have to worry about at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is being haggled by a salesperson. Their sales staff are pros, and they're on your team from getting you into the car you want with the best possible financing plan. Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville is second to none. Schedule a test drive at JenkinsHyundaiofJacksonville.com or at the showroom on Atlantic Boulevard. And tell them Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks sent you.
The 2019 Harrell and Harrell Performance Studio is here, and it's better than ever. It's your chance to meet the personalities on the new ESPN 690. Sit in the front row and ask your questions to athletes in town, sports analysts, and experts. You'll be able to see them in person. It's going to be the best year yet. So listen to ESPN 690 for your chance to win your way in throughout the year. It's the Harrell and Harrell Performance Studio. Brought to you by Harrell and Harrell.
And as much as people are probably sweating the idea of Duke going out, what's still alive? Duke, North Carolina, meeting in the championship game for the first time ever in an NCAA tournament. Oh, gobble, gobble, gobble.
Go Lick and Wingo, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on ESPN 690.
Hey, this is Dennis Anderson, the driver of Gravedigger, the baddest monster truck in the land. You're listening to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
I love baseball.
Well, we all love baseball.
When we get to St. Louis, will you tell me the guys' names on the team so when I go to see them in that St. Louis ballpark, I'll be able to know those fellas?
Well, now, it's all right, folks. Strange it may seem, they give ball players nowadays very peculiar names.
Funny names?
Nicknames. On the St. Louis team, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
That's what I want to find out. I want you to tell me the names of the fellas on the St. Louis team.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
You know the fellas' names?
Yes.
Well, then who's playing first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name on first base.
Who?
The fellow playing first base for St. Louis.
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who is on first?
Well, what are you asking me for?
I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, who is on first?
I'm asking you who's on first.
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and tell me.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who is on first?
Have you got a first baseman on first?
Certainly.
Then who's playing first?
Absolutely.
Who's on first? Have you ever seen the whole thing?
No, Brent. I'm 31 years old. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I know what you're talking about. It's the Marx Brothers, right?
Abbott and Costello.
One of the best comedy bits ever.
The Marx Brothers.
Is that the same thing?
Is that Grouch?
No, that's a very different animal.
No, I thought
so I was way off then.
Yeah, Abbott and Costello.
Sorry.
But Bill, now you're confusing the heck out of me. I'm like, is that the same thing? I don't think it's the same thing, but you usually know this stuff more than I do. So I was like, well, maybe it is. Maybe it's two different things.
But I understand.
Have you ever been to the Baseball Hall of Fame?
No.
Because they have that whole setup in Cooperstown as well. You got to get to the Baseball Hall of Fame. You're not a Hall of Fame guy? Ever been to any of them?
The only Hall of Fame I've been to was like the Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, which is worth going.
No, for sure. I mean, I'd love to go to Canton one day.
I'm not a huge... Cool. Yeah, Canton. I've been to Canton. Not since they redid it. Mm-hmm. And I think we will get to Canton someday. If Tony Baselli gets in, I think they'll play the Hall of Fame game that year.
Of course.
And so then we could be going there soon. It's been a while. It's been since college since I've been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But been to baseball a couple times. Been to basketball, but that was even before. They redid it in Springfield. You know, where I grew up, in Rhode Island, if you go like west into Massachusetts and you get on I-90, you basically, if you just drove I-90,
you could hit a ton of Hall of Fames. Basketball is on I-90 in Springfield, Massachusetts. The baseball is in Cooperstown, which isn't far from I-90, kind of runs through New York.
Yeah.
There's a boxing Hall of Fame, I believe, in Syracuse.
Yeah,
There's you can even get up to the Hockey Hall of Fame, I think, if you stay that way and enter through Canada. And then there are some obscure kind of Hall of Fames. I think there might be a bowling Hall of Fame there. And stuff. But it's there are all these Hall of Fames on I-90, up in that corridor.
They've got a Lebowski exhibit.
Yeah, they probably do. They probably
I'm a fan.
And so, but I think there's a bunch of them, which is pretty wild. And then you'd have to drop down if you want to get to Canton. But then you can go to the Golf Hall of Fame right down here in St. Augustine.
Do you want to come to my Hall of Fame ceremony if I ever get inducted into Murray State?
Sure.
You want to come check out Murray State? There's not that much going on.
Do you think you'll get that call someday?
Well, yeah. So here's the funny thing. Well, so in terms of football, I was the highest drafted guy ever in Murray State history. So I got that going for me and whatnot. But every year they send out the submission where you have to fill out what your accomplishments were, things like that. And you know me, man, I never check my emails, obviously. So I've missed out the past 3 years. So I've probably been eligible. I just didn't sign up for it. But
broadcast excellence.
Yeah, so maybe eventually I'll get to that and I'll get elected.
I am not going to the Hall of Fame. Actually, you know what's interesting? You just sparked this weekend is the 20th anniversary of our World Series team. They're doing a little reunion up at Ashland University.
Oh, cool.
So 20th year, and it's actually Saturday and Sunday.
Wait, you're a part of that? Or not?
I was part of that team.
So you're not going to go?
Nah, I can't.
You're busy, but
yeah. So it's not great timing for it to go, but it would have been cool to go up, see all the. I don't know how many guys are going back. I have no idea, but that stuff is cool. You a high school reunion guy? Ever been there?
No. See, well, I had 64 kids in my graduate. Well, I had 61. 3 of them got arrested before the ceremony. So we had 61 kids in my graduating class. True story, actually. And no, we've never had a reunion just because I feel like Facebook nowadays, it helps keep in touch with everybody.
You should just then go to. Maybe just have a golf tournament. 61 guys, 61 people.
Yeah, I feel like you just have a little bachelor party, have 30 guys, and you're good to go. No worries.
I went to a high school reunion, I think the 5-year one for 10 minutes. So I went to the front steps of it, and that was about it. I was
really?
I don't even want to be here.
Just not your style?
And then, of course, I haven't been really in town. So, but I do wonder if it's probably really cool to go to your high school reunion or college reunion of the sorts, or this World Series team I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Still 20 years to me is whatever. It would be cool, but it doesn't do much for me.
Yeah.
I think let's see, I'm 41. So, maybe another 20 years or 15 years. 35, 40 years later, I don't know. Maybe it would do more for me.
It's just the power of social media for me.
You just don't need
I know
to.
exactly what all my classmates are doing. Isn't the main point of okay, well, fair enough. or maybe they blocked you, Brent. Don't get it twisted. But yeah, I'm going to go to high school reunion at our bowling alley and just be well, see you have some kids. How's that going? Cool. What are you doing now? Cool. Okay. Well, see you another 10 years. Who really cares?
Yeah.
And
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
I think we share the same philosophy. I really do.
You think you'll go back there at some point? You have to fill out the paperwork, so we'll go do the show from Murray State.
Now we're talking. Yeah. Okay. Then I'll make a habit of filling out that paperwork. It can be me and John Moran the same year.
Now that would be good.
That'd be cool.
That would be very good. That's a good distinction. I can tell you this: I'm not getting into the Ashland University Hall of Fame.
Why not, man? You burned too many bridges, didn't you?
No, it wasn't good enough.
Too many bridges.
That's
good at burning bridges. It's okay.
And probably not getting into the East Providence High School Townies Hall of Fame either.
Well, maybe if we keep dominant.
If I give enough money, maybe.
That's kind of the trend.
A good way
right?
to get in.
Well, I feel like if ESPN ever has a Hall of Fame, maybe we can, work our way up to the ESPN Hall of Fame.
Yeah, we got a little ways to go.
Well, I'm not getting ahead of ourselves.
Now, if we put a little Hall of Fame right in this office area, we got a chance.
Yes, that's true. and as far as producers are concerned, we haven't had a lot of them, but
Kuzart's killing it, man.
Oh, you'd be surprised, actually. Don't be so hard on yourself, man. I'm going to miss you when you're gone, that's all I'm going to say.
Hey, Brian Burns and Florida State Pro Day in Tallahassee. There's really not a lot coming out of there. I will tell you that. Talk to some folks in Tallahassee. We have Tashawn Reed on once in a while from The Athletic. I think he's going to join us next week. We hope to be able to have him on. Just spoke to him moments ago. He's unable to call us, but he said you really didn't. There wasn't a lot of drama coming out of there, which isn't surprising. Burns and Murray only participated in position drills, according to Tashawn. DeMarcus Christmas said he ran a 4.9, and Jacques Patrick slimmed up, lost some weight, ran a 4.5, the running back. So Again, Burns is the story. Nyquan Murray is interesting. I think some of these guys like Christmas and Patrick are interesting for middle to late rounds and see where they end up. But from a first round, top 40 kind of player, no doubt Brian Burns is the guy, pass rusher, and seems like a guy with momentum climbing up mock draft boards if you want to put a lot of stock in that. It'll be really interesting to see where they land. The other part of some college football talk, Dan Mullen, we caught up with yesterday about his Gators team, and we actually were talking about a lot of the athletes, the pro day guys, the Jawan Taylors of the world, the locals that were there, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. But we did have a chance to catch up about this year's football team in spring and the orange and blue game coming up in a couple weeks. And a scrimmage took place today in Gainesville. Here's Dan Mullen talking about this edition of his football team coming off a big year.
Hopefully everybody's motivated when they saw 32 NFL teams out here watching our guys. So hopefully they're motivated to go practice and have a good practice today. And then tomorrow's scrimmage, hey, it's the first scrimmage after installations. So how they're translating each installation into actual, instead of, controlled periods, into a game, and how they're turning over game situations. And, it'll be the first time we're tackling in spring and see how guys can put it all together.
There's Dan Mullen talking about his football team. And what does that give you? Who knows? We'll find out what goes on in the scrimmage and if they share some more information in the coming days. But also the orange and blue game coming up on the 13th, Florida State Garnet and Gold game coming up on Saturday, April 6th. So that's just a week away. By the way, JU Dolphins have their spring game with Ian Shields on Saturday. So a lot happening in college football. I've said this before. High school will probably get going in the next few weeks too. I think Coach told us last week, Coach Tobin, I think it was in the middle of April where they get rocking and rolling. High schools aside, I think we starve for football so much that we put way too much emphasis in the spring. I understand that it's important for the inner workings. I think for coaches, I think for the students, for the student athletes, I think there's an importance level to it. But we, on the outside, fans, media, everything else, because we starve at times for more football, I think we put way too much emphasis on it. We put too much stock in it. These spring games really have absolutely zero impact or very little impact on really what happens in the fall. I'm just not over the top about this stuff like so many people are.
See, we're talking about the Florida Gators, though. Listen, they're replacing 2 tackles in Juwan Taylor and Martez Ivy, so that's something you want to keep an eye on just for the fact that you're plugging 2 new guys in there, especially with the quarterback like Felipe Franks, who's playing with a new offensive line. Even in the spring, you want to keep an eye on that. And then you want to keep an eye on also as the backup quarterback, Emory Jones, as well. Has he made that progress? The coach has been ranting and raving about him. I'll say it one more time. Coach said that he added girth. Coach Mullen said that Emory Jones added girth to him. So from that perspective, there are some cool things to watch. Girth is good. I guess. I don't know. I mean, I would rather say muscle, but girth, so be it.
By the way, they're 4 months away from playing anything meaningful. Maybe 4.5 for 5 months away. I just don't know what correlates.
Team chemistry gets built in the spring.
Again, those are inner working infrastructure type things. That shouldn't excite fans to the level it does. But we starve for football, and it does. Nothing translates, is my point. Your opinion
we start
today.
For some football. We're not really starting for the AFF, I guess. But
your opinion today on the Gators or Noles really means zero. By the time we get to September and start rolling out for Florida, it will be in late August. I'm going to give away some Tim Tebow Celebrity Golf Classic tickets when we come back, and we're going to make some predictions in Major League Baseball, even though the season's already started. Next.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
I'm Aaron, and the dancers get dancing again today as the NCAA tourney picks back up with the Sweet 16. Florida State poised to take on a tough Gonzaga squad whose coach Mark Few says the Seminoles play keeps him up at night.
Man, oh man, are they a very, very good basketball team that just does a great job of defensively taking you out of what you want to do and coming, both on the glass and in transition, and then when they're making threes like they did last game, very impressive.
Tip-off tonight at 7 p.m. on CBS 47. Baseball's back with opening day kicking off around the country today, but it seems like the drama is actually centering around a players poll in which Bryce Harper's peers called the $330 million man the most overrated player in the league. It's actually the second time Harper won the distinction from his MLB brethren. The last time was in 2015, to which he responded by winning the MVP that year. Can't get enough baseball? Make sure to keep it locked right here for the defending World Series champion Red Sox, who are taking on the Mariners tonight on ESPN 690.
If trouble finds you, you want a board-certified expert in civil trial to help. Call the law offices of John Phillips at 904-444-4444. John will be by your side as an advocate and as a friend. When things go wrong, you need help to make it right. So give John a call. Personal injury, family, and criminal law. The number is 904-444-4444 or visit floridajustice.com.
The following message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Elder Affairs, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Have you ever given your Social Security number to someone without knowing why they need it? Has your Medicare card been stolen? If you think you've been a victim of Medicare fraud, contact the SHINE Senior Medicare Patrol Program. They empower seniors to prevent Medicare fraud and can help if you've been a victim. To speak to a SHINE counselor, call 1-800-963-5337 or go to floridashine.org.
Hi, everybody. It's Brent Martineau. If you received a letter from the IRS and cannot pay them, things can get bad quickly. The IRS can seize your bank accounts and garnish your wages. If this is you, make sure to contact J. David Tax Law, a local firm right here in Jacksonville, and recently voted the best tax attorney in Jacksonville by Folio Weekly Readers, and also selected as an ultimate tax attorney by the Jacksonville Business Journal. Your first step to stop IRS harassment is a no-cost consultation. They explain exactly your options and how they will resolve your tax issue. And only trust an experienced and award-winning tax firm when it comes to representing you. The fastest way to get started is to call 904-507-4777. 904-507-4777. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away. Also online at jdavidtaxlaw.com. The number again, 507-4777, or online at jdavidtaxlaw.com.
The Medical Group Management Association of Northeast Florida is proud to join forces with the Duval County Medical Society to host its first annual symposium on April 18th. Aimed at helping physicians and practice managers to smoothly operate their practice day to day, topics include healthcare trends impacting your practice, stress management and communication, and empathy in the workplace. To register, go to nfmgma.com. That's nfmgma.com. All attendees must be employed by a medical group or practice.
Ben Simmons is not good. He's great. I love his heart. I love his game, his fearlessness. The brother is special. There's one thing that Ben Simmons is lacking, and it is a jump shot.
The Stephen A. Smith Show, weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m. on ESPN 690.
You watch Action Sports Jax on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Now Action Sports Jax is on your radio.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
Here's your host, Brent Martineau.
I believe in the Church of Baseball. I've tried all the major religions and most of the minor ones. I've worshipped Buddha, Allah, Brahma, Vishnu, Siva, trees, mushrooms, and Isadora Duncan. I know things. For instance, there are 108 beads in a Catholic rosary, and there are 108 stitches in a baseball. When I learned that, I gave Jesus a chance. It's a long season, and you gotta trust it. I've tried them all, I really have. And the only church that truly feeds the soul day in, day out is the Church of Baseball.
Bull Durham.
Ah, very good.
Yep.
Well played.
Thank you very much.
Well done. Baseball theme continues here on opening day in the big leagues. By the way, we'll hand off to baseball coverage on ESPN at 6 o'clock, and you can catch the Red Sox game right here on ESPN 690, 7 o'clock. Seattle Mariners and the Boston Red Sox. I had no influence on that, by the way. It was already planned. Although if we play the Red Sox every night on ESPN 690, that would not be a terrible thing in my book. Dodgers are winning 6-0. Houston over Tampa Bay 5-1. The Cubs 7-2 over Texas at the moment. Oakland has a 3-0 lead over the Angels and Mike Trout. Atlanta losing to Philly 6-3. I have not checked. Let's see how Bryce Harper is doing in his debut. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. That's worth $330 million.
What a hater. It's the first game. Relax.
I know. It's first game of a dozen years. I get it.
But But isn't it funny, though, the fact that, like, everyone tends to panic the very first week of baseball? I mean, even I had so the Brewers, I think the very first pitch was a home run. And one of my friends texted me, like, whoa, our starting pitcher sucks. It looks like Brewers going to go back to the bottom of the division again. I'm like, dude, it's literally the first inning. Just relax.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cleveland, Minnesota scoreless. Colorado 4-0 over Miami right now in the fourth. Cincinnati 1-0 over Pittsburgh. White Sox in Kansas City in a rain delay. Actually, the weather around the country, I think, for baseball is not bad. Sometimes you get some nasty stuff, and it's not bad here on opening day. Yankees beat Baltimore 7-2. Mets beat Washington 2-0. Milwaukee over St. Louis 5-4. So there's your scoreboard for Major League Baseball on opening day. Going to give away some Tim Tebow Celebrity Golf Classic tickets. That is on Saturday. All you have to do is call 904-362-9901. 904-362-9901. Say hello to Scott, and you can win a 4-pack to the Tim Tebow Celebrity Golf Classic on Saturday at TPC Sawgrass. Tim will have his gala tomorrow night for his foundation and raise a lot of money. And then on Saturday, have the Golf Classic with some celebrities, including Florida Gators coach Dan Mullen.
Are you doing that? Are you going to be in that? Or not?
No, I'm not.
Come on, man.
Not playing in it.
You're a celebrity.
Maybe we stop by. I do have a little softball with Kaylee this weekend, so it doesn't look like it's on my radar, but it can be on yours. You can win a 4-pack of tickets, 904-362-9901. Thanks again to Palm Beach Autographs for giving away those tickets and sharing them here with ESPN.
Call now. Operator is standing by.
Operator standing by. You love doing some of those traditional things. I like that a lot. Also, John Bachman stopped by earlier. He's got an event that he's a part of, and we're going to do our live sports from there tonight on Fox 30 at 6:50, right when I'm done with this. It's called Wish Madness, and you can go to wishmadness.com and buy tickets tonight to this event. Watch some of the games. Obviously, Florida State, Gonzaga.
Nice.
And local craft breweries will be there, fine restaurants, and helping out a bunch of local kids. 6:30 tonight, Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, which I believe is on Atlantic Boulevard. And you can go online and purchase those tickets. Still time to do so. The event starts in an hour, but it will run for a couple hours, so you don't have to get there right at 6:30. Hope to see you over there. Help support Johnny Bachman and everybody else who's supporting Make-A-Wish here in Jacksonville. All right, you wanted to do it. Baseball predictions.
Well, you told me to do it. So this isn't me. I mean, I just did what I was told. I had to do my homework last night.
Did you do your homework, and what did you come up with?
I did my homework, yeah. So should we just start?
Do you have
in the
these
East?
written down?
Yeah.
Because later on you'll have to forward them to me, and we
Okay.
have to keep this.
Okay.
And we have to see who wins.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah.
Not betting a tattoo on it.
So, yeah, you don't have much confidence, do you? So, where do you want to start?
That just got interesting.
The AL East, or where are we starting here?
Yeah, starting the AL East.
Brent, I mean, the Red Sox are a good team.
Yeah.
They're pretty solid. But
You can't hurt my feelings.
But I'm taking the Yankees, man. I mean, let's be honest here. Judge, Stanton, sounds like runs they added to their starting pitching a little bit.
Sounds like
bringing
strikeouts.
Bringing their big maple, James Paxton from Seattle. I think he's going to be a good starting pitcher for them. Now, granted, their relief pitching, little suspect. CC Sabathia is out. He's kind of up there in age. Don't know when he's coming back. But I think from the hitting, from the talent, I'm definitely going to take the New York Yankees winning that. Oh, right. and also Aaron Hicks will be the so I guess you can call him a leadoff man. My pick right now for leadoff man of the year.
Is there such a
Aaron
thing in
Hicks.
baseball? Leadoff man of the year.
No, but I just made it up. How do you like that? ESPN 690. Leadoff man of the year, Aaron
I can't
Hicks.
wait. We're going to give away leadoff man of the year at the end of the year.
Write it down.
That's awesome. They are without Didi Gregorius, and they have a bunch of strikeouts, and the Yankees' big thing is can you pitch and starting pitching, and they didn't get enough of that last year, and I still don't believe they did enough of the little things. We'll see if they add that to their repertoire this year, because they hit home runs and they struck out, and it did not fare well for them in the postseason. That's not postseason baseball. You still have to be able to do little things, and you have to be able to pitch. Their bullpen's fantastic. Starting pitching was questionable at times, and even they did pretty well in the postseason. But there were too many situations where they left guys on base, and if they had just played a little, not necessarily small ball, but situational ball, I think they would have been better off in the postseason. But you got the Yankees. Go ahead. I won't comment about everyone, but I love commenting about the Yankees.
No, it's your turn.
Oh, no, you roll through,
Okay,
and then I'll roll through.
I'll start then. All right, so AL Central. Got to go with the Indians. I think they have some of the best pitchers in baseball. We got Kluber, Bauer, Carrasco, yeah. Three guys that can go deep in the lineups. They can take some pressure off the relievers. I get that the Twins are kind of the in pick this year. It seems like everyone's taking the Twins.
Baldelli!
No, I'm all good. Go ahead and give me the Indians by a long shot, actually. In the West, Astros. I think that's the pretty obvious one. They have the pitching, they have the hitting, they have the young talent. Astros all day. So that's the AL.
You're so boring.
Don't worry, man. We spice things up a little bit in the NL. NL East, taking the Phillies. Obviously, they had a Bryce Harper, and it's just funny because I wrote this down, last night. But McCutchen is going to be like my comeback player of the year.
Yeah, Brett Myers liked McCutchen signing,
If I'm not mistaken, he had a pretty good day today to start things off. I think he had a home run.
He's batting leadoff for him, yeah.
Yep. So
NL leadoff player of the year.
And a leadoff player of the year candidate coming from ESPN 690. So I like the Phillies win the NL East. The Central, listen, I think the NL Central is actually the most loaded division in baseball. Not just because I'm a Brewers fan. I mean, you got the Cubs, the Cardinals, even the Pirates and the Reds are kind of making a come up as well. But NL Central, go ahead and give me the Brewers, baby. Their starting pitching isn't obviously going to knock your socks off. They didn't address it in the offseason, which kind of makes me a little nervous. Obviously, the whole plan with Craig Counsell is that they're going to rely on what got into the show last year, and that's the relief pitching headed by Josh Hader. If he can stay healthy, they're definitely going to have a chance. As far as offense, they probably have one of the quietest MVPs of all time in Christian Yelich. He actually went yard today already. They ended up re-signing Mike Moustakas, Moose as they call him. He's another good addition. And then obviously the biggest addition of the offseason, Yasmani Grandal, the catcher, signed him to a deal. That was really the one thing that the Brewers are lacking was good catching. So props to them for doing that. Travis Shaw, expect big things from him. So Brewers taking the Central. The NL West is my surprise. I'm taking the Rockies. And maybe it's not that much of a surprise, but if you look at a Dodgers team that lost Machado, that lost Puig, and don't get me wrong, Yasiel Puig wasn't really that big for him until the postseason, but I still feel like from a young talent and everything like that, he was one of their guys in the clubhouse. So I'm taking the Rockies, though, for sure. Charlie Blackmon, Daniel Murphy, Trevor the American Horror Story, as I'm calling him this year. I like that lineup a lot.
I like that pick.
I like that lineup. And then World Series, I got the Brewers and the Astros.
Yeah, that a baby.
Yeah. And then
that's two NL Central teams formerly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and here's the thing about it. So, to me,
I think they were, right? They were both in the NL Central, right?
But back when Houston was absolutely trash. I feel like a lot of what the Brewers are trying to do is based off what the Astros have done, when the fact that they're trying to build it in the farm system and whatnot. Now, granted, Milwaukee has added a lot of key pieces, Christian Yelich being one of them, but for a long time, the Brewers just built in the farm system. I mean, guys like Corey Hart, Braun's a farm system guy. Prince Fielder was a farm system guy. So I feel like I see the Brewers and I see the Astros, and I'm like, those are two teams that kind of mimic each other a little bit. Now, if you look at the rosters this year, not even close. The starting pitching edge is with the Astros. But from that perspective, I'm taking the Brewers, man. You got to.
All right, I like it. Find out my prediction and stay in your lane when we come back here on ESPN 690. One more break here on a Thursday, opening day in Big League Ball. And we'll put a bow on the show here on ESPN 690. Stay with us. Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 and, of course, on CBS 47 and Fox 30. If you catch us on the radio, hopefully you tune in 3 until 6, Monday through Friday, and you can catch us on TV on the weekend as well. Saturday and Sunday nights, Action Sports Jacks primetime. The entire Action Sports Jacks team, including Stuart Weber and Marcel Robinson, on Saturday nights. 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47, Action Sports Jacks primetime, and during the week on ESPN 690.
Attention high school seniors and college students of Hispanic descent. The First Coast Hispanic Chamber is awarding up to $2,000 to 10 deserving students through the Achieve the Dream Scholarship Program. The deadline to apply is April 1st. Apply today at www.fhcc.com/scholarship.
Hey, everybody, this is Brent Martineau of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. And if you're even thinking about taking a look at a new car, you need to go see my friends at the new Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville. If you haven't seen the new 2019 Hyundai Kona, head over to Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard and take it for a test drive. The 2019 Hyundai Kona was named the North American Utility Vehicle of the Year. It has enough room for the family, but it's not too big.
It really is the ideal crossover vehicle. If you don't need something as big as a crossover or full-sized SUV, check out the new 2019 Hyundai Elantra sedan. It's a very slick car, and it starts at only $17,985. The manufacturer also offers $2,000 cash back on select 2019 Hyundai Elantras, but the offer is only valid through April 1st. The Hyundai you want, the service you deserve, all with a 7-day money-back guarantee. Schedule a test drive at Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.com and make sure you tell them Brett Martineau sent you.
The spread and that college-style offense. Listen, in 3 years, you might see the Big 12 be run by the NFL because it's the exact same kind of offense that's going on here.
Action Sports Jacks with Brett Martineau. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Didn't know where
Yeah, it's a good way to get opening day roll. Take me out to the ball game. Never gets old. What do you got on the magic whiteboard you were saying?
Too high. Too high? What is that from? That quote. Too high.
Major League?
Yeah, nailed it.
We didn't have a Major League reference until
I know,
then.
that's why I put it on the board. I'm like, give me some Bob Uecker, give me something.
I had to wear it.
Vaughn, a juvenile delinquent in the offseason in his Major League debut. Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
The fact that he said, give me some Bob Uecker, and all of a sudden he chalked it up, ready to serve, like, unbelievable, man.
Scott's the man.
Scott is the man.
Ready to go.
Chalked up and ready to serve. I appreciate you, Scott.
All right, I got to write this down. Okay, I'll write it down.
Crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
I used to love that movie as a kid, which made zero. I mean, like instance like Bull Durham wasn't really a movie. Like I saw it as a kid, but I couldn't really appreciate it because it was a little bit of a slower movie. But for whatever reason, man, I was a big fan of A League of Their Own.
It was a good movie. That was good.
A fantastic movie. Yeah,
Tom Hanks, man.
Rosie O'Donnell, Madonna was in that one.
They had the cat. We just saw it actually, or maybe we caught it halfway through, and
Gina
the kids were
Davis.
watching it, and it is amazing the cast they had in that movie.
Yeah,
the cast was really good because the cast is so good that I knew who they were. I mean, that's when you know you got a pretty good cast.
That's saying something.
All right, let's run it down here, okay? I'm going to homer up and go with the Red Sox. They've got such good starting pitching. Their lineup's good. I'm concerned about their bullpen, but that's okay in the regular season. Their bullpen will hurt them this year in the postseason, though, where if you don't have that lockdown closer, an eighth-inning guy, and that's where the Yankees right now have a big advantage, I believe. I am going with the Minnesota Twins and Rocco Baldelli.
Wow.
Yeah. I think the Twins.
Hopping on the hype train.
Even beyond Baldelli, who, by the way, Baldelli's from Rhode Island, if you didn't know that. And one of the first things I covered in this business that was at least a bigger story, he was the 4th pick out of Rhode Island. That does not happen in the Major League Baseball draft very often. Tremendous athlete. Ran into some hard luck with injuries and a fatigue disease, really, that got him out of baseball. But now he's the manager of the Minnesota Twins, and I think he's got a pretty good roster. I think they've put him in a pretty good position.
Okay.
He spent a lot of time in Tampa, did well in Tampa. Actually was with the Red Sox, I think, as a on the coaching staff, too, for a short time. But Rocco Baldelli, I'm going to pick him. Cleveland Indians are everybody's favorite pick, and I understand why. Lindor does start the year on the shelf. But again, it's a long season, so it's not going to hamper him too much, I don't think. And I think the team to keep an eye on here for me is the Angels. And I'm not in love with the Angels, but I'm not going to keep my eye on them for the to win the division. I like Houston to win the division.
Yeah,
They've got their two stacks.
So loaded.
But I think to me, the wild card teams are really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not put the Yankees in there? Okay, I'll give the Yankees a wild card. But then for me, then that leaves this trio of teams where it could be Tampa, who I think overachieved last year, but they won a lot of games. And who knows, maybe they'll do it again. I think the Angels are in that mix. And then because of the way I picked the Twins, I think the Indians would be in that mix.
Yeah.
The Indians had like no friction at all in that division last year.
Nothing.
And so
I just feel like that's going to change. I think somebody's going to run into them, and I'm going to give it to Minnesota. So I've got the Red Sox winning, I got Minnesota winning, and I have the Houston winning. And then in the wild card, I have to put the Yankees in there as much as I'd love to put them out of there. And I think in that last spot, I'm going to give it to the Angels. I think the Angels sneak in and get that last wild card.
So I should probably say who my wild card teams were too. So I had the Sox and the Athletics.
All right.
Those are my wild card teams.
This is my moment for showing off my deep knowledge of baseball, and this is it. This is my one shot. The last team to go a first appearance in the World Series and win the World Series, the 2002 Anaheim Angels.
Very good.
Wow.
And they just finally got rid of Mike Scioscia, right? I mean, that was Mike Scioscia way back. Gosh, he was with that team for that long.
Crazy, right?
That is crazy. And they've underachieved overall since then, They certainly have done that. In the National League East, I like the Braves. I think the Braves arrived early last year. I think the Braves, this is the year they really should. That is a tough division, man.
Yep.
Mets, Braves, Phillies, Nationals. You could pick either one.
Anyone could.
You're not picking the Marlins, and the Marlins will be a little bit better than they were, but they won't be
what is that really saying, though, Brent?
Yeah, they're not ready to go.
Yeah.
I think the Cardinals get back to the winning ways. Yeah. And again, great division. You just mentioned it. The NL is loaded. Good luck finding teams. I will go with the Dodgers to win out there in L.A. And then I think the wild card teams will come from one from the East, and I'm going to give it to the Phillies. Mm-hmm. Again, another young team emerging. This hasn't really – I think you could pick this team without Bryce Harper. I don't know the effect Bryce Harper. I'm curious about the Bryce Harper effect. I'm less curious about Machado because San Diego's not really built yet. But I think Phillies came on strong last year and showed a lot and then fizzled down the stretch. But I'm not sure how much better Harper makes him. I think it's the totality of that young team growing and taking another step. And then Harper, of course, will help. I'm not saying it doesn't help them. And then in the Central, I have a hard time getting away with the Cubs. I'd love to pick your Milwaukee Brewers. I kind of like them.
It's all good.
But I do have a hard time getting away from Cubs. Again, the NL is absolutely loaded. I don't have the Angel. Here's one thing. I made a bet recently.
Okay.
And therefore I am...
High stakes?
Pretty decent stakes.
Okay.
And therefore I am not picking. This is a little bit to do... My picks are... My predictions...
What's the bet? What's the bet?
The bet is, I don't know if I want to share the bet.
Well, it's not my money. I don't care.
All right. So the bet is that the Yankees, Indians, Red Sox, and Astros, of those four teams.
Great teams. Awesome teams.
I took the field going to the World Series.
You mean from the AL?
Yeah.
Say those teams again?
Yankees, Red Sox, Indians, Astros. I took the field. Gutsy. Stupidity?
You can call it gutsy if you want. It's not my money, man, so I really don't care. You can do whatever you want to do.
So therefore...
then who's going to the World Series?
I got the Minnesota Twins going to the World Series and Rocco Baldelli.
Oh, wow.
Or the Angels. I don't care who goes as long as none of those four teams.
As long as the top four teams don't go.
I figure I've got a couple of ways in here. As long as the Yankees don't go. But if the Red Sox go, I'm a winner either way. If and then the other teams don't go, then I can win my bet.
Well, I can't wait till Brent starts asking me for money now after this bet backfires in his face. It's all good.
But man. I am going to take the Cardinals to go to the World Series. I got the Twins-Cardinals World Series. How about that?
Well, and I had the Cardinals in the wild card, and I had the Nationals in the wild card. I can't get over that bet. That's crazy. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, I'd like to pick the I think the National League seriously is way up for grabs.
True.
I really think it's hard to predict.
Yeah.
I think the Mets could make a move, although I'm just not a big believer in the Mets. I don't know what would give you the belief other than their pitching's great, but their offense, look today, they won 2-0. Now Scherzer was on the mound, but I just think they're going to really have trouble scoring runs. I think the NL Central is interesting because there's a lot of unknowns there, but you could emerge super teams coming out of there. They've done it before, and who's on the verge of doing it. And the West is still a little bit unpredictable. I like you're going out on a limb a little bit with Colorado, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, listen, they've been the wild card the past 2 seasons. I feel like they take the next step this year, and they have the bats to do it. They have young starting pitching that isn't proven yet, but that could be flashy. So I'm liking the Rockies.
All right. And by the way, I just want to let you know, the radio rant that will take place if I do win this bet in October will just don't come in that day.
Okay.
It's going to be all about that bet.
I'm speaking from a logical point of view.
I get
but
it.
hey, it's sports and anything can happen. So
anything can happen.
All right.
How about stay in your lane? It
We'll
can
do
happen.
it real quick. Yeah. So cruise control. Oh man. Yeah. Let me bring it up here. Jay Gruden may have got Colt McCoy a pretty sweet endorsement deal because according to Jay Gruden on Tuesday, he revealed that Colt McCoy drinks a gallon of unpasteurized milk a day. Excuse me, sir? A gallon of milk a day. He said that it helps McCoy achieve strong bones, which that feels like a commercial in itself because McCoy's coming off some pretty serious
Brought to you by
injuries.
the Dairy Farmers of America.
And McCoy's coming off some serious injuries. But I don't know, Colt, if you want strong bones, maybe just try a calcium supplement or something like that. Like, I feel sick just thinking about drinking a gallon of milk a day. So that was in the cruise control.
I like it.
And pump your brakes. Listen,
maybe it should be in pump your brakes.
Well, I
kind of brakes on the milk, but it was a cruise control on getting the endorsement.
Yeah,
I got
exactly, the endorsement part. Props to Jay Gruden. And following, like, listen, make it short and sweet. I'm not going to get on a soapbox.
Come on.
I'm not going to get I'm not going to get political on the show, Brent.
Please don't.
Yeah.
I don't really have time for that.
Exactly. Neither do I. So all I'm going to say is $18 million cut from the Special Olympics. Take it how you want it. My mother-in-law actually works pretty close to the Special Olympics in Wisconsin. I know how much that event means to everybody. So that is in pump your brakes. Like I said, not getting political, not going to get into it, but I thought it should be mentioned.
Well, I do have an update on that story in the last 20 minutes, actually.
Hit me with it.
They have announced that they're backing off the budget request to eliminate funding for the Special Olympics.
Wow.
So there was enough pushback on that.
Sweet. Well, that's awesome.
And appropriately
news.
So. Listen,
yeah,
I
thanks
don't
for
think,
the news update,
yeah,
man.
I don't think you need to. This isn't political to me. It's whether do you believe funding for the Special Olympics should be there or not. To me, that doesn't say Republican or Democrat. It's just, and I understand that we have a Republican president in office. I just think it's more. This has more to do less about politics than it does Special Olympics. I mean, Special Olympics, unbelievable thing.
Exactly.
And if you've ever covered it, been around it, seen it, it's you'd give it $50 million
without a doubt. And listen, with budget cuts, I understand sometimes money has to get cut from someplace, but I just ask that you consider doing it from someplace else, which I guess they are now doing because obviously there's some pushback. So that's great news on behalf of Special Olympics.
Yeah. So again, that's just in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and put that in my ball-in category.
Yeah. It went from pump the brakes to right back into ballin' for tomorrow's episode.
Exactly.
By the way, we're going to be at Stogie Fest tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Stogie's and on the south side.
Yep.
3 to 6, show on location. And we got a big day because it's Jacksonville Iceman game, ESPN 690 night as well. We're going to be out there between the first 2 periods.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, we got a little contest going on.
Yes, we do.
Not even fully aware of what's happening, but we're going to figure it out.
I don't know if we have golf clubs, hockey sticks. I'm not sure what's going on.
Preparation's overrated.
Preparation is overrated.
It is overrated.
And I would just say I hope it's golf clubs and not a hockey stick.
I hope it's a hockey stick and not golf clubs. So, hey, there we go.
And there might be like a golf foursome on the line. And so what we suggest, like even if you win or I win, maybe we just get a couple of listeners to come play golf with us. We're going to have to get you out for 18.
Okay. You're asking a lot of me there, but hopefully I don't embarrass myself too bad.
They have beverage carts, man.
Okay, yeah. Then I'm all in.
That can always save the day.
It's all good.
Of course. We're going over this Wish Madness event. You can check us out on TV, 650 on Fox 30. And, of course, we're handing off to baseball on ESPN. Red Sox Mariners tonight. AL East champs, defending World Series champs. AL East champs coming up this year, defending World Series champs from last year. And thanks to Brett Myers for coming on. Thanks to Coach Jason Christie for coming on here on a Thursday edition. We'll put a bow on the week for sure. Also, an hour away from tip, the NCAA tournament. Here's what I need. Unfortunately, my bracket needs Gonzaga, Texas Tech, Virginia, and really that's all I got alive tonight. That's it.
It's going to be Michigan, Purdue, Gonzaga, and Virginia over Oregon. Book it now. Call your bookies. Let's do this. Put your kids' college tuitions on the line. put these predictions in stone because I am the prophet.
All right. I just can't lose the bracket game on ESPN690.com to Coos. That's really just all I'm trying to protect there. I don't even care about the baseball bet anymore.
Don't lose to me because I'll let you know about it.
Yeah, that's fine. Everybody's going to get lucky a little bit. Hey, thanks to Scott for chipping in again today. And for Russell Lane, I'm Brent Martineau. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you on TV, Fox 30 and CBS 47.
The 4th annual Touch a Truck event is coming to Jacksonville March 30th at the Regency Square Mall parking lot. We are offering First Coast families the chance and opportunity to climb all over trucks and vehicles that are normally off limits. Guests are asked to bring non-perishable items to be donated to Feeding Northeast Florida. You can find more information, visit ESPN690.com or find us on social media. Just search ESPN 690.
Shrimp in a bag. Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by Community First with tickets starting at just $5. Opening weekend is April 4th through the 8th. Don't miss opening day presented by Firehouse Subs and Rimrock Devlin with free magnet schedules courtesy of Crawford Electric and post-game fireworks. Tickets on sale now. Call 358-2846 or jackshrimp.com. Affordable family fun.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anna Jar and Levine studios. Anna Jar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690.
Coming up on baseball tonight, opening day 2019, and man, was there finally some money thrown around in the offseason, but none more than to Mike Trout. We'll hear from the best player in the game, plus how his mega deal with the Angels got done, and all the scores from this afternoon before the Red Sox begin defense of their crown in Seattle. Next on ESPN Radio.
On, look out. Leaping and he caught it. He absolutely made a brilliant catch. Swing and a miss. Strikes out the side.
Now, here's Kevin Winter.
A day like today, there is hope. Everybody believes they have a chance. Heck, even if you don't think it's a reality, you act like it. Because why not? Everyone begins anew. Also, for a good portion of the country, today does mark the beginning of something. For so long, it seemed like we were buried in brutal cold and wind, and for some in snow. Not anymore. The boys of summer are back. The weather is gorgeous all throughout the country, and today there are 15 baseball games being played on opening day 2019. And with that, we welcome you into the studio in baseball tonight and the 21st season of Major League Baseball here on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. I'm Kevin Winter. Yes, before today, there actually were a couple of games that were already played this year. The Mariners are part of both of them. They won both games against the Oakland A's in Tokyo a little more than a week ago. But today, this is opening day. It's when the kids came rushing home from school to see their favorite teams playing because they had an afternoon starter. Heck, sometimes even when parents would allow their kids to skip school to go watch the games. It's a brand new season, and 29 big league clubs are trying to take away a world title from the Boston Red Sox. When we last left you, October 28th, 2000.